We are on, ladies. We're having this really weird deal, and maybe people can text us in because I am not kidding you. I'm looking at the screen right now, and Tevin and I are wearing the exact same color shirt, only in reality, his is blue and mine's green.
Yeah, I'm
Why would it
jealous.
change? Because nothing else is off color that I can see. I mean, other than like AJ's humor.
Yeah.
Hey, man. So I don't. There's got to be some color filter or something that's kind of weird. I don't know why it would do that.
Maybe it's just the lighting in here or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
get confused. The camera isn't expressing how beautiful I am, and I feel like
Oh, I
that's-
think it really develops this magnificent thing.
I think you took the filter off, is what you did.
I actually just put it right back on. I had it off all day yesterday because I thought it looked a little better, and then today I put it back on.
No, it looks great.
Thanks.
Do you usually have a filter on?
I have improved my appearance.
Oh God.
The first setting.
Oh, I have my improve on, but it's all the way to very strong. Like
Michelle, you want to see what very strong looks like? I look like an anime character. My nose is gone.
Oh yeah, your nose disappears. You're right.
It's like a
That's
Pixar
weird. Your
type
nose
of-
is gone. Oh, there it is. It's back now. You got your nose back. So that's a good thing. No question about that. You know, I got to ask you a question, Brittany, because you're an attractive woman. You know, I can say that because I'm thousands of miles away, and there's no way you could take it negatively in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, Kath and I went to dinner last night. Played one of our favorite places. We've been going there for 25 years, a place called Stressa. It's a phenomenal Italian place. And she's getting all dolled. She just looks stunningly beautiful. And she's like, does this look okay? I don't think I look that good. It just doesn't make me look that good. It's like, would you shut up for Christ's sake? I mean, she's a stunningly beautiful woman. And as a matter of fact, I know it was the server, so he was just sucking up to her for a bigger tip. I understand that. Don't get me wrong, but do they either think they're really good looking when they're not, or when they are really good looking, they don't think they're that good looking?
I don't know, because what I keep happening to me is I take a picture like with GoGo and I hate it. And I always say, just keep it for 6 months and then look back. And then I always look back at it with kinder eyes. So I think, I don't know what it is, the reality. And I wish it wasn't true. So I hope there's some things that I don't pass on to GoGo, like being like critical of this or that. Like I've been trying to.
Really, you?
Like I've been trying to not verbalize things that bug me about myself because I know that GoGo's going to hear that and put it on herself because, you know, we both got thick thighs, you know, things like that. And like, I want my narrative to be positive, even though in my head is not always positive. So I've like been nicer to myself because of having her, and it's actually kind of nice.
Your Instagram must be a trip then. If you're waiting 6 months to like do anything with photos, like in mid-January, you're like, fun weekend at the lake,
right?
Summer fun.
Yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, what I found that women are, and men too, I suppose, but I don't pay any attention to men in this manner, so I don't know if it's true or not. But there are women who could be the best looking woman on earth and think they look like shit. And there's some women who are not that attractive who think they're just so stunning that everyone should throw money at them. Do men do that too? Like they think they're a lot better looking than they are?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah, of course. Everybody. I feel like most guys probably think they look better than they actually do, myself included, probably. And then most women, a lot of times, will probably feel like they look worse than they actually look. Like if a girl comes in, like if my girlfriend isn't wearing makeup, sweatpants, whatever, just a normal casual day, she's like, "Oh, I look terrible." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You look amazing." Like. And then when she's dolled up, like then she'll think she's great, obviously. But then me, I just whatever. I assume I look the same, regardless if I'm dressed up or wearing sweatpants.
I suppose that's true. You know, I did not know until about a year or two ago. It wasn't even 2 years ago. It was about a year and a half ago. That I'm constantly scowling, and I'm not really scowling. It just looks like I am. So people avoid me because I look like I'm very pissed off all the time.
Yeah,
rocking that RBF.
Really? Do I really look like that? Because it's like right now, people would go, "Oh my God, what's he pissed off at?" It's like, what?
Yeah, you literally look angry most of the time.
Really?
But like, I find it comforting Like,
that I'm pissed off all the time.
no, because you're not. It's just your
Because
face.
I'm not. Yeah, that's right.
So, like, I think because I knew you when I was in my 20s, I have now this disease where I will literally talk to anybody no matter how scowly they look. Like, by the end of 2025, Judd Zoldagad will be my friend if it's the last thing I do.
Oh, does he scowl too much for you?
He's very, like, he's made it very clear that if we were office buddies, he would hate me. And because of that, I will make
What?
him
Wait a
my
minute.
friend.
Run that. What does he base that on?
Because I was like, he's like, yeah, I make it very apparent if I'm in a cubicle that I won't talk to anybody. And I was like, I talk to everybody.
Right.
Like,
In Judd's defense, I feel like most people would be annoyed by Brittany after the first week of like, if I had somebody just coming over to my cubicle, I'm like, I just want to get this work done. I don't want to have to entertain you. And now you're over here too bubbly.
I get so excited because if I roll in the office, I go out of my way to go stop by AJ's cubicle. I always make a walk by, and we have I think we have a grand old time. Like,
Yeah, I mean, hey, I enjoy our visits.
Now is the time to tell me that you're busy.
Oh, I like that.
No, it's always a pleasure because that's usually like towards the back end of my day, and like I've already like kind of conversed with everybody else. You make the rounds when you get in. It's like, hey, Grant, how you doing? Hey, Dex, how you doing? And then it's just like a couple hours of just nothing. And so it's a nice little. Did you just hit your elbow?
It's fine. I
Kinda
moved my
sounded
desk.
like it. You okay?
You
Is there an
okay?
earthquake at your house?
It's fine. Don't
Did
worry
you go
about
to the hospital? Oh my god! But yeah,
No.
but
Does it look like the room tipped over to the left on her? Look at the
No.
look at the crease in the back wall there.
So I moved my desk so I don't hit my door doesn't hit the chair anymore, and now there's a shelf here.
Oh well, that's good. Nothing
So I
wrong.
was gonna
Look at that.
I was gonna get a little sign that says Tom Barnard podcast.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
a great idea.
Like a self-portrait to hang back there.
Yeah, you should. You put a Britney portrait back there.
Yeah.
That'd be magnificent.
No, I'm gonna get a little for the Tom Barnard show, and then I can point to it, remind us what we're on.
That's what you're going to do from now on.
Yeah.
Works for me. AJ and I were looking through the news. You guys looking through the news as well, but AJ and I were on together. It's still pretty much everybody hates everybody. That's pretty much the news now, is how everyone hates everyone else. And then they'll throw in a story what's about like the lighter story today. The lightest story that AJ and I could find was Kraft is introducing mac and not cheese. I mean, that's about as friendly as it gets, ladies and gentlemen.
Has
Right.
it always been not cheese? Because that cheese isn't real. Like it's always been
True.
not cheese.
Me and AJ probably benefit from just the mac. We both struggle with the cheese.
You don't like the cheese?
I love it,
Oh, you
but
eat too much of it?
it does not like me, and
The
I have to
lactose
accept that
action.
one of these days.
Yeah, if I know there's like mac and cheese on the menu and I make the conscious decision to have it, I know I'm actively like ruining the rest of my day. Until that's out of my system, I'm gonna feel like garbage. It just clogs everything up. I feel terrible and like a bad headspace. Everything is bad, but it tastes so good. So like the payoff, maybe it's not there, but I think it is.
I always go like, am I wearing leggings? What happens if I poop my leggings? Like what?
All right. Well, last night, I don't know why we did this, but Catherine and I did not watch the fifth. I think there are 6 seasons of Fargo now, and we didn't watch the 5th. We haven't watched the 5th or 6th yet, so we started watching the 5th season last night.
Yeah.
In the very first episode of season 5 of Fargo, these mafia guys are sitting in the back of a car, and the older mafia guy starts grabbing his chest like this. He's grabbing his chest. He's breathing heavy. So it looks like he's having a huge heart attack.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen this episode?
I'm trying to remember which season are you doing? Tell me the number and I'm gonna look up the people.
Season 5.
Okay.
I think it's the first year that God, I can never remember anybody's name anymore. I don't know what the hell.
I understand.
remember-
I have to look up their faces because
Oh yeah. Half the time when you say a name, I'll be like, I don't know who that is, and then when I see their face, I'm like, oh, of course I know who that is.
I know. That's happening to me now?
Yeah.
Is that normal for all of the participants in the world now, that there are too many names to remember? You can't possibly store them all.
Yeah, I think so. And you meet so many people every day.
Yeah.
Are you watching the John Hamm one? That's this season.
No, that's 6.
Season
Isn't it?
5.
Oh, that's season 5. Oh, so we're watching
No,
season
that's-
4.
Oh, okay.
What?
Oh no, I was just saying to Brittany that you're watching season 5 because she.
Tom, if you get bored with this season, because I've had trouble with the past ones, they say that the season right now is amazing.
No, that's only 5. I thought it was 6. That's 5, though, huh?
I don't know.
Season 5 looks like it's got Billy Bob Thornton, Martin Freeman, Allison Tolman, Colin Hanks, Chris Rock, Jesse Plemons.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're right.
That's 5. Yes, that's the one we're watching. 6
You're
is the one with John Hamm, and that looks phenomenal, by the way.
Everyone's saying because it's the writers from a lot of the original ones.
Yep.
And they say it's amazing.
The boys from Minnesota. Everybody needs to remember that. The Coen brothers. So anyway, so the head of the mafia is in the backseat of the car, and he's grabbing his chest. He's holding his arm out. He's like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. So they're starting to pump it up, and the guy's even thinking about leaning over and blowing the air into his mouth so he can breathe, but he won't do it because he don't want to put his mouth on a guy's mouth, and there's this big deal going on. And all of a sudden, he falls backward like he died. He falls backward. There's a pause, and you hear the guy farts for about 60 seconds. It was not a heart attack. It was just a massive load of air that he farted.
Oh.
It was the way they do. You'd have to see it to see how funny it actually is.
I bet it is good. And that, that happens a lot in hospitals. It's like
The fart deal?
Well, that pressure people confuse as heart
sure.
pain because they have like stomach pain. People go in a lot. Yeah.
How much gas do you have to have where I'm going to the hospital because I think I'm having a heart attack? Oh my gosh.
Well, Kevin, this guy did fart for about 60 straight seconds. So it was built up.
A fart attack.
Oh God. Go away.
Can we clip that? Thank you.
Maybe there's an opening over at the queue. We could get her in.
Hey, don't I have a lot of their sweatshirts.
He goes, hey. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the lovely and talented Judd Zolgad. How you doing, Judd?
What have I walked into? Like, I hear Age talking about what happens if he eats macaroni and cheese, and it sounds like an ordeal.
It really does.
Yeah, it's the opposite of a fun time. I will say that.
What is it? The cheese is a fake cheese. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think like it's the artificial cheese. I feel like because like, it's that overload of just like preservatives. I think.
What if you ate like mac and cheese with real cheese in it, like a baked mac and cheese?
See that sounds like too much work.
Well, that's true. No question about it. No, we were just talking about Judd, people's appearances and all the rest of it. That Catherine was just stunningly beautiful last night. We went to dinner and she was, I don't look that good. And that women do that all the time, right? That very good looking women do that. I guess I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were talking about Brittany today. She can make her nose disappear by changing the lighting.
No, I have a filter that I can put on all the way. And it gets
your
rid of
nose
my
disappears. It's hilarious.
It's like it's in witness protection.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like isn't there like a Voldemort Harry Potter or something character? That's what it looks like.
Exprendo!
And they finally did close the door because I was talking to a reporter yesterday about this stuff and he mentioned this because I didn't know until like 2 years ago that I always walk around with a scowl on my face. I'm not scowling. It just looks like I am. Right. So everybody thinks I'm always pissed off. But then when I am pissed off, apparently I look like I'm going to murder someone within the next 30 seconds. I didn't even know that until nobody ever brought that up to me until a couple of years ago.
So you've got a scowl on your face when you walk around? I mean, what? Because you're not smiling constantly? Like, why would you be?
I guess I always look like I'm pissed off. But Brittany even agreed with that.
Yeah, 1000%. Like that's your thing. But I always learned that it means nothing. Like you always, when you're concentrating, and then sometimes you put your arms, fold them in front of you.
I'm coming after you.
But like, it doesn't mean anything. I still approach you like the exact same way because sometimes it's just your face.
And the great thing about it is, and we'll close with this, that I do have some issues and I do scowl sometimes, but there are only 2 people that before I die, I'm going to kill. Cool. But so there's only 2. It's none of you.
Do we know their names?
Well, I was going to say,
yes, you would know their names.
Well, I was going to say only 2. That puts the odds for us, and we're like, there's a 33%. Well, one of us is going to make it on the show.
No, you're not involved. I won't even tell you who it is, but if they just disappear, it wasn't me. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Speaking of disappearing, do we have any talent left in the state of Minnesota in sports?
Not well. Yes. The Wolves are
Wolves.
playing well. The Wild won a game, but yesterday there was nothing. So I come to you prepared to talk about mac and cheese. I come to you prepared to talk about lactose problems, which I have. I mean, I can go in any number of directions today.
Judd, you don't want to take a deep dive on the controversial release of Sean Mannion from the Minnesota Vikings, our third string quarterback?
You know what? That didn't even occur to me. No, I saw that transaction. I'm like, that's like if I had been cut. It's like, what was he doing there in the first place?
There was a headline after he got cut, and it was, Vikings make surprising cut in, quarterback controversy leading up for next week. And I was like, there's no way like we did anything controversial. It was like Sean Mannion's gone. It's like, okay, the least controversial thing that we could have done.
What Yahoo put that headline up there?
I think it was actually Yahoo.
Okay.
No, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, we're cutting the end.
Question answered.
Yeah.
One of the things we've been talking about this morning is the 9-year-old boy is being picked on by some asshole from Deadspin. Do people even know what Deadspin is?
They do. No, they do, but it's from the first incarnation, which was really good.
Yeah.
And then basically went away and was resurrected and is not good now. And I saw that thing. So he's basically got his face painted in Chiefs war paint, but half of it was black. And so Deadspin tried to make it into this big deal. Mm-hmm. But to your point, he's 9, so no one's biting. Like, it's not like some 49-year-old made a questionable decision and now he's getting, why? I guess my question is this. Why would you pick on a kid who clearly, like, I saw the kid's face paint. It's for the Chiefs game.
Yes, of course. And he's Native
So
American.
what are you
by
doing?
the way.
Yeah.
He is Native American.
My rule of thumb, I think, especially in our jobs, is this. If it's a person under the age of about 16 or so, unless they do something egregious, like against the law, I wouldn't pick on them.
No. Well, leave the kid alone. He's 9 years old, for God's sake.
Right.
He's called a racist at 9 years old.
Right. And my thing is, like, you can't have it both ways where you go, well, why do you get so worked up over a sports game? It's just sports. It doesn't mean anything. But then when the person you want to accuse of blackface and wearing a headdress, now you want to get worked up about it. Like, you can't pick and choose if you're going to take sports seriously or not, like, as far as like the coverage goes. So I don't know. It's weird. And he's 9, like you guys are saying.
And wouldn't it, and to be truly, like, if you were going to say that's offensive, wouldn't his entire face need to be one color?
Yes.
All black. Like, he's clearly attempting to dress up as a tribal because it's a Chiefs game, Mm-hmm. So, like, that's what I don't get that one. It's like there's so many, and here's the other thing: there's so many things to easily be pissed off about and to like raise the ire of the public about.
Sure.
You're really going to pick a 9-year-old, like you're going to see that picture and say, this is today's cause. This 9-year-old, you're going to look like an a-hole.
Right. And was he the only one out of the 40,000, 20,000, whatever, how many people were at Chiefs game that had face paint on? Like, we're just picking out that one kid that he was the only one? I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
Does anybody even know who the Deadspin guy is? Because I haven't heard his name. So what if he was looking for publicity? It didn't work because I don't think anybody knows the guy's name, right?
I have no idea who it was. Yes. I have no idea.
First of all, why don't we get back to the old days of none your goddamn business? How about that? Just get out of my face. Go live your life. I'll live my life, and leave me to hell alone. Right?
Well, yeah. And again, if you want to get people worked up, pick on adults. There's plenty of adults, and you might be wrong about that, but at least you have a fighting chance of not looking like a complete jerk.
Well, I'll tell you what. After this happened, I've had enough. I will never go see. What is it? White Girls, with the 2 black men dressed up as white women.
White chicks.
White chicks. Yeah, there you go. I'm never seeing that. I am totally offended now. I'll never be able to go near it. Who gives a rat's ass? Right?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Right. There are many, many more things to get upset about than a 9-year-old kid dressed up as a Kansas City Chief.
Yeah.
That's what gets you worked up, huh? That's really great. How about the fact that a guy went, we talked about this on the show yesterday. Would you get more upset about that? Or would you get upset about the fact that AJ and I talked about it this morning, that you got a hamburger, French fries, and a Coke at McDonald's, and it was $16?
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So it,
The guy
oh
showed the
my
picture,
God.
didn't he? Yep.
You know what though? This goes back to I think this is one of my biggest issues in life. You know, when we're kids and we all think adults know things,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
like we can't wait to be adults and we think our parents are so smart and we think, you know, when I get to, I don't know, take your pick, 30 years old, I'm going to have answers. You know, I've come to the realization now for a long time, for the most part, I can't stand adults. Just admit you don't know anything. Just admit you're clueless. Like, I
Yes.
understand if you don't want to tell, like, if your kid's scared and you want to make your kid feel good, I get not saying, well, I'm scared too, because I don't know what the hell is going on. So I get that. But this overwhelming thing of these adults who think that they know what they're doing and who run things like sports. We have the answers. You're wrong. We're right. F that. That is my biggest thing. Adults are, for the most part, like, the thing about it is you realize you do get smarter, but as far as like answers, you don't have them. And the other thing too is the stupidest adults try to be the most in control.
There's no question about that. You're 100% right. AJ, could you look up and see, is there somewhere you can look at the stats to how many adults in America actually could find their ass with both hands?
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know what to type in for that on a couple of computers.
I don't know.
Start with morons and work backwards.
No, most people are not very bright. They just are not.
No.
And that's just a fact. And they think they know everything and can do this. Like I said, these statements that come out, it's like, why are you upset about that? Are you that stupid to ruin your life, to get upset over that? I mean, it shows incredible stupidity. What do you got, AJ?
Oh, so I thought that was rhetorical. I don't know.
You're a disaster.
What am I supposed to search for that?
Just make up a number, age. Just say 82%.
Actually,
Say you found it.
it's looking like it's about a little under 82% of the population in every major city. So, do
You
that
just
number.
made that up, Judge, because you said 82. And, oh, by coincidence, it's
Yeah, you should have come up with another. You should have come up with another percentage, AJ.
Sorry,
Like you should have dumbed it down to 76% and said, "No, sorry, Judge, you're wrong."
My glasses are off today, so it's actually 71.
Okay, all right.
71% of people are real. You made that up too, didn't you?
I don't know what. I don't think it was that.
I just stick with it, age. Don't back down. No, just say no. It's right here. I've got a special file.
You didn't get away with it. In any case, I mean, that is the whole problem here. People are all pissed off. They're extremely angry. They're hurting other people because of it. And it's all because of stupidity and because we're so easily controlled by smart people in our school systems and our government. You're being controlled. You're being used. I hope you people do realize that. You're being used. Your anger is exactly what they want from you because they can control you a lot easier if you do that.
Yep. And as a sports fan in this state, I would say that I'm being controlled by teams that consistently let us down, and yet we continue to follow along.
Well, that's a good point. Absolutely a wonderful point. But I really wish that somebody would have the balls to stand up there on national television and go, you're being used. Your anger is what they want from you. They don't want you to be happy. They want you to be upset and angry, and we got to make it better. And if you send me money so I could run for office, then it'll be better. You're being used. Stop letting them do this to you.
That's my favorite. Now we're seeing it on like X and Twitter and stuff about these politicians who are like, my message is so important. I know you know that. So jump on here and send me a hundo. Can I do that?
Sure.
Oh, you should run for
My
office.
sports message is so important. Jump on here and send me a couple of $100 so I can have some more hot takes. I'm not quite sure why I need $200 from you, but I do.
Well, there you can if you do, you do. But please, people, understand this. You're being used by that whole situation. Don't let them use you. Stop caring about stuff that really doesn't affect you in the least. Right?
Well, right. I stopped a long time ago. So
yeah, me too. Me too, but people are just weird. Okay, so I probably should. You got one more minute, don't you? Or do you have to go?
No. I got a
Got
couple.
another minute?
Yeah.
If you buy Kraft mac and cheese, you know what to expect. Macaroni cheese and one of the cheapest, easiest, least nutritious meals of the week. That's not very nice. But that's all about the change. And no, not that last part. Kraft is nixing the cheese, but it won't just be a box of noodles. It's called Kraft Not Mac and Cheese. That's the actual name of the product, is Kraft Not Mac and Cheese.
What?
And it features a dairy-free alternative to its usual powdered cheese. Well, so what? Once again, how is that a news story?
That might save AJ's internal system right there, Tom.
Yeah.
That's good. But is that national news that AJ has to poop when he eats cheese?
Why wouldn't you call it Kraft Light?
Kraft Light. That'd be a good. I like
Kraft
that.
Not Mac and Cheese is way too much work, and it's going to chase, that name is going to chase potential consumers away. Kraft Light would be a far, because it sounds light. It's lighter. It's good for you, right? Because it's light.
Yeah, but it just sounds like less calories. Not that there isn't dairy. Like if you're somebody that was needed to be dairy free, like
Right.
you gotta I think it makes more sense. And I think it's big news. A company that's been around for how long now is making a switch to do a dairy free option.
Keep in mind, we're only about a month out or a month removed from when we had a giant news story about how Charmin reinvented their perforated tear on the
Yeah.
It's got the little dips in it.
Yeah, that made an impact.
As a matter of fact, I was going to ask you guys.
Totally
a
missed
question.
it. Totally missed that one.
I was going to ask you guys a question, but it's right here on the page. Yes, that powdered cheese has dairy. I was going to go, is that really dairy at all? But I guess it is. It actually is dairy. I didn't know. So I suppose if you're allergic to dairy, is it what, lactose that you're allergic to?
Yep.
I think is that what it is?
Yes.
Yep.
Lactose.
Whatever it is, you want to do light, you want to do heavy. I don't give a rat's ass. Am I just not caring enough? All of this stuff, but 99% of stuff like that. Why are you pissed off about that? Who cares? Why do you care about that?
I think you're consuming too much news and
I
you
am.
don't care
Yeah.
about it. And it's actually, you see, I try and stay away from stuff so I don't get worked up.
But see, it's my job, and it's been my job for 53 years to report the news and do all that kind of stuff. And I know the rest of you just get it, after the show ends, you go and sit on your ass at the house while I'm busting my back trying
That
to,
sounds
make
like
it a
me.
better
Yep.
show.
Yeah, it's
I do understand
definitely
that.
not working 2 jobs.
Wait a minute. Spinning records once a week is not working.
Oh, now I guess it's about to be 3 jobs. I stay faithful on Indeed.
Oh, you really? You going to have 3
Bills
jobs?
bills don't pay themselves, Tom. You got
No.
we're
They
out
don't?
in the streets grinding.
What's the third job?
We're about 1 step away from slinging crack cocaine on the street.
You going?
Whoa, can I get involved? Because that makes good money.
Yeah.
I'll be a client.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, I won't. I want to be involved ground floor operation of this.
Perfect.
Nice.
Once I build the empire, Judd, you're my first call.
This is like the new Breaking Bad. Like
It's a very casual drug deal that just went down.
Kevin's the,
This is gonna be like Power.
Frank from Harlan. What was his name again? Frank. You guys know who I'm talking about? He's the biggest.
Frank Lucas.
Frank Lucas. Exactly. That's who it is. He was the biggest cocaine dealer in Harlem.
Yep.
My God. Good
you know
movie.
what, Tom? Tevin can be the new Kit Can of downtown.
Oh, the kid. Kid can.
Yeah,
Yep.
he can
was
be
one
the
of-
new Kid Can. He can run the streets downtown.
Who was one of his best friends?
That's why I know who he
Also,
is.
Axel, one of my best friends, actually back in the day.
Let me tell you.
Please, so I got to call the mafia, and then I'll get right back to you. Yeah, Sydney was a really good friend of Kid Can's.
Mhm.
I love
Mhm.
Sydney. That's not I'm not going after him. I love Sydney. He's a wonderful guy. But I tell you, man, 100 years old. Last time I saw him, I'm at Murray's downtown, and I'm sitting in the Sid Hartman booth, and he walks by. He did not recognize me because he was about a couple of weeks away from dying. Walks by and sees me, goes, "You're sitting in my booth." He was all upset that I was in his booth. But what the hell? All right, we better move on here, young buck. We'll talk to you next week, though.
Young Buck, I like that. Yes, you will
Yeah.
talk to me on Tuesday.
Nothing wrong with that.
All right, everybody. Have a good
Thanks,
one.
Pally.
Bye.
We shall take a break. Be right back. Chris Eggert be up next. You all have helped support MyPillow and their employees in these tough economic times. Mike Lindell knows this and continues to give back to listeners with great deals on his most popular products. Right now, you can save 50%, as a matter of fact, on Queen and King pillows. The original My Slippers and the MyPillow 6-pack bath towel sets are back in stock. The proprietary technology makes them extremely absorbent, yet still provides that soft feel you look for in a towel. The set comes with 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. Regular price is $79.98 for a limited time. You can get the 6-pack towel set for only $39.99 with promo code TOM. That's a 50% savings. So go to MyPillow.com, use promo code TOM to save 50% on the MyPillow 6-pack towel sets. That is just $39.99 for a set. This deal will not last long. Enter promo code TOM for this special and many more. Tom here, and I want to discuss a partnership that has been wonderful in my life, Zero Res Carpet Care. Very good friends of mine. Nothing is better to someone with a family than having a completely clean home. Your carpet is the biggest filter in your house. If you want to talk about pet dander or foot traffic, dirt from the outside, they all eventually reside in your carpet. So, Zero Res Carpet Care. Listen, around the holidays, you need to contact ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 952-ZEROREZ. That's 952-ZERO-RES. They clean your home with their electrolyzed pH-elevated water that doesn't use chemicals or soaps that smell like a janitor's closet like other cleaning services. How about a Tom Barnard deal? Well, here it is. Get 3 rooms, 0 resified, starting at $129, and don't forget your air ducts. Mention me, and they'll discount your air vents by $75 too. This is for the entire month, so call them right now, 952-0-RES, backward or forwarded, spells the same, or book online, ZeroResMinnesota.com. If it's available, ask for them to come to your place in the Tom Barnard named service truck. What an honor that was, by the way. Just mention me by name and get the special deal to get your home clean and your heart happy. Zero Res Carpet. Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Landon and Gavin Miller of D&B Plating.
I've always been impressed with their speed of answers to our questions, and that has allowed us to expand and capitalize on opportunities in the market.
North American Banking Company has never made us feel like a number. They've always treated us as a partner.
For more information about North American Banking Company, go to nabankco.com or stop by any one of their Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. You need to know a guy for your auto repairs, legal issues, banking, and more. The same goes for investment advice. You need a guy to help you be successful, someone you can trust who gets results. Well, I got a guy for you. His name is Josh Arnold, very good friend of mine, as a matter of fact. Josh gives you straight talk, not sugar-coated advice about your financial situation. Josh has seen it all when it comes to economic and market conditions, and Josh can make sure that your retirement objectives match your investments. Do yourself a favor and call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll get a different point of view for your investments. That's a good thing. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's 952-925-5608. You'll be glad that you did. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security and investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. I'm Tom Barnard, and I'm a paid endorser. I will find out more, and I'll find it out from Channel 5's Chris Eggert, being brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation, 952-925-5608. Chris Eggert joins us. How are you doing, Pally?
Good morning. How are you?
Marvelous. Had a good start to the show that we've decided that we've sent out an edict to the world. Stop being so damn touchy about everything. Shut the hell up and live your life happy.
Ooh,
How about that?
Good luck getting that mandate pushed through. I hope if you can do it, God bless. I hope you can.
Boy, I tell you, Chris, I don't know how you guys do your job because I have to look at the news every morning to make sure that I see all the stories and all the rest of it. It is not very happy, is it?
Well, I heard Judd talking a little bit before the commercial break about just not listening to it or not, which I mean, I definitely get how it can be overwhelming for people, but I also don't think that sticking your head in the sand is necessarily the best way to go about it. I always kind of like to tell, like my mother, for example, I say it's healthy in doses, but I don't think you should sit in front of it and watch it for 12 hours straight. I think that's too much.
She's watching the new national news and the local news, all of it.
I don't know that it's that long. I was just consumes a lot, and
Yeah,
I feel if you're consuming hours and hours and hours of it, that you don't necessarily have an accurate viewpoint of what's going on in the world. If all you're seeing is the crap, you don't necessarily see, the good things that are happening when you walk outside or you go to the grocery store or anything like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly what you're saying. And again, like we said before, our schools and our politicians in this country are trying to basically chirp to people who are not that bright that you're being used, you're being taken advantage of, and I will help you. All you got to do is send me some money and I'll do it. And they're falling for that crap. And this is the same situation. They want you to be uncomfortable. They want you to be angry all the time because you're very easy to control when you're pissed off. You just are.
Or pissed off or scared. One of the two.
Or
They're
scared.
very easy to. So the big thing we had in the news this morning, and we're still actually on the scene right now and just getting the chopper up in the next couple minutes. There's a house explosion in South St. Paul. When you go past the airport on 494, and as it gets ready to round the corner and you approach the river over there, it's like between Inver Grove Heights and South St. Paul.
Yep.
There's a house that's like leveled. And they're trying to figure out if anybody was in there. But like it doesn't look good, but we don't know if anybody was in there. So that's the thing that we're sort of working to find that out right now.
So I have a question for you because I don't remember where it was. It was in California or Florida or somewhere.
Yeah.
But it was about a 15,000 square foot house and it was gone.
Yeah, I heard you mention that the other day.
Man. And this same thing. This has just been flattened, huh?
Yeah. And only the garage was left, according to our crew that's on the scene right now. So, I mean, you could see it at one point. I think it probably started somewhere around 6, and from MnDOT traffic management camera, like a long ways away, you could see the smoke billowing up and like fire. And so, yeah.
Do they have any early indication on what the cause was? I assume probably like a natural gas situation.
I don't know. People in the neighborhood are reporting that they heard an explosion, but we haven't actually. I mean, we're just drawing conclusions that when people are reporting that they hear an explosion and you see a house that's leveled, but we've heard nothing, no official cause of anything yet. So, I mean, there was a couple years back. Was it in Hopkins? A guy had done some like work on his water heater and was like did some of the basic connections on the water heater, and that's what ended up causing their house to explode. So
I think,
to
be honest with you, I know exactly what happened here. There's no question. That 9-year-old with the face paint burned their house to the ground because he's an evil kid. You know what I mean?
Who's that kid?
You know about the Kansas City Chiefs kid?
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I caught that yesterday on social media. Yeah,
ridiculous. The whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. But that's this time of the year, isn't it? When things are switching over from, summer to fall to winter. Winter starts in about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, something like that. It always seems at this time of the year, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, houses explode.
Yeah, I think. People are using their furnaces more, and it does. The wintertime's tough around here when it comes to fires, and I mean, there's a lot of that happens, and a lot of fires we see during the wintertime months are like space heaters, and people using their ovens to keep their house warm, and it sucks.
It is not good. So you'll have more on that as time goes by.
Yeah, I think I just left the newsroom, and as I was walking in here, they said they were just getting the chopper up right now. So to get over the top of it and get a better view as to what happened.
Any good news?
Well, I heard you talking about that dairy-free Kraft mac and cheese, which I didn't think was good, but I did think it was worth a mention. It's made of fava beans.
What?
Yeah, some of the dairy is being replaced with like fava bean protein and coconut oil powder. And I don't know what the hell's in that little powder that they already use, but
they said it is cheese. They did say it's real cheese, which I did not know. I had no idea that powder was real cheese, but I suppose it makes sense. I don't know. So does everybody want to stay away from fat? And well, you have to eat some fat to live. I hope people do know that.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys already talked about that. I'm not going to go into that anymore because I know
sorry.
I know the face it made me make when I had it on this morning. I was kind of like, oh.
Brittany, you got a question?
Chris, do you ever get to go in the helicopter?
That was going to be my question as well, but I didn't want to sound like it.
I used to fly constantly when I was working in Orlando, like almost every day.
That's so cool. Do you bring coffee on there and stuff?
Do you
I
yell,
did not
"Get to
bring
the chopper"?
That's in the chopper.
It's very intense because you at that time I was anchoring like the 10 o'clock news at night, but in the early part of the day they could send me in the chopper or do some reporting stuff. And Central Florida is a really busy breaking news market. It just is, and very aggressive in coverage. So they put the chopper up no matter what, like over anything. And the airport was about 12 minutes away from the station, and you'd hop in your car, drive over there as quickly as possible. And like the chopper's going, and there's a whole protocol when you're approaching a helicopter that's started.
Got a duck.
Don't stand up too tall, but I mean, it's a whole thing. And then you get in and he's like, strap on and take off. And then
the helicopter is not actually at the station. Cause in my mind, it's like you're sitting at your desk and all of a sudden something happens and you like put on your whatever jacket and you jump on the roof of the station and off the helicopter goes.
They do. Most of the stations have helipads, but I think a lot of times they're keeping them at airports, and the helipad thing is just, it's there in case they have to, but I don't think part of that might just be because they're always in a busy part of town or a tightly compacted area. I know out in Seattle, we had a helipad on the top of the building there, and the other station across the street, right by the Space Needle, there's two different TV stations, and the other station's chopper crashed several years back.
Oh.
I mean, right there, like right there in front of the frickin' Space Needle. It was crazy.
Did your chopper then get in the air and cover their chopper crashing?
I don't know.
No?
I wasn't there. I wasn't there at the time.
Okay.
I had just started here when that happened, but that chopper thing's a dangerous thing to
I will tell you guys something. Many, many, many years ago, and this is a long time ago, when they first started using helicopters to cover the news.
Yeah.
KSTP did have a helipad on top of the building. You remember that, don't you?
We still have one. It's just they don't use it now.
They did used to use it all the time, and I cannot remember the pilot's name, but he was a great guy. I thought the world of the guy. Didn't get along with everybody, but I have to do a visual here because so this would be the helicopter on the helipad. And so normally when you take off in a helicopter, you go up in the air to a certain level and then you fly off. Yeah. But this guy, who was a damn good helicopter pilot, when he would take off, and I'm not exaggerating, he would take off in that busy part of town like this. Zoom. He would just take off straight out. It's like, holy God. If you were in that helicopter, you thought for sure you were going to die. Because he's like 2 inches over the roofs of houses, and they made him stop doing that. I do remember that.
It's like an Vietnam helicopter.
Yeah, a lot of the guys are military. A lot of the dudes, every dude I ever flew with was former military.
He like hands you a parachute and like a rappel rope so you can get down to cover your traffic. We got the giant pumpkins down there, Chris. We're just going to lower you down. And
all right, I'm going in.
If anybody remembers his name, please do call in or text in, because I loved the guy, but everybody else was scared he literally just went zoom straight off the roof of the Hubbard building.
It wasn't Chopper Ken, was it? Ken Melchior?
Is that right? How long ago was that?
I don't know how long he was. He left, retired sometime in the last maybe 10 years. But I don't know how far back it was when you remember that.
It was a while,
Tom. Okay. It may have been somebody else, but
I mean, you guys made the very good point. He was a Vietnam vet. So when he got back here, he wasn't in the best of moods about the world right now anyway. It's
Oh.
one of those. Great
Well,
guy.
nothing like sending them to a bunch of explosions and crime scenes and fires to really get a even more altered view of the world.
Oh, but all the guys who flew anything in the military were so cool. Like us Army people would be like chilling, and all of a sudden, like an Air Force guy or like a Chinook would roll up, and they were just in their jumpsuits, and they'd be like walking out in slow motion, and I'd be like, they're so cool.
Can I get your autograph, mister?
I know you got to go in 1 minute, but I have to ask you a question. But Jeff Passold told me this years ago.
Yeah.
There was a guy who drowned in the Mississippi River, and they couldn't find him. And by the time they found him, apparently people get extremely bloated if you're in the water for a long time.
Yeah.
Did you ever witness? Because he witnessed this. Passold goes down to cover it for, I think at the time he was at Channel 11. I think maybe it was Channel 9. But in any case, he goes to cover the story on the banks of the Mississippi River. He gets there just as they poke the guy. And literally, because that's what they do. They poke the guy and all the air comes out, but it comes out at a very fast rate. Can you imagine even seeing that in person? This big giant balloon of a guy, and all of a sudden it's pop, and it all comes out.
I have not experienced that. I have unfortunately been on several scenes where there's been somebody's body there.
Yeah.
But oh God, I can't imagine.
Well, they said he wouldn't fit in the hearse was the problem. He had bloated so much he couldn't fit in the hearse, so they had to do it.
Well, that does make sense, because if you see like livestock on the side of the road that has been hit and it's been sitting there like in the sun in the
Yep.
What a weird thing that happens there.
All right, you can go.
Next thing you know, it's flying in the Macy's Day Parade. And
that'd be a good look. I would actually like that. That would be wonderful.
Ooh, well, all right. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye,
See you tomorrow,
Chris.
Chris. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Channel 5's Chris Eggers is brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. We shall take a break. Be right back in a couple minutes right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, you know the song Kokomo? It's supposed to be off the Florida Keys, right? Well, I hate to break your Beach Boys bubble, but that is a fictitious place that they made up for the song. Fortunately for the rest of us, the Florida Keys island chain are as real as the taxes you have to pay in Minnesota if you're a resident. Now, that's a reason to move south. In addition to Florida and all of Monroe County being beautiful, the Keys from Key Largo to Key West are even more beautiful. This is Tom Barnard, part-time Florida resident myself. And if you want a second house or a new retirement home or want to become a Floridian, may I suggest you contact Matt Carlson from One Key West Realty. Matt grew up in Litchfield, and he's a super real estate agent. When it comes to finding your tropical island space in the Keys, he lives there and here, and Matt knows what's best in Key West to buy for your second home in Florida. Matt teamed up with fellow Minnesotan from Sartell and Alexandria, Kristen Eklund, who's one of the top mortgage brokers in the country from Coast to Coast Mortgage. She'll get you the financing you need to buy a home in Florida or in Minnesota. Matt's part of the Lake Sotheby's International Realty Group. That sounded very regal, I think, didn't it? The Lake Sotheby's International Realty Group here in Minnesota. And Kristen, his mortgage colleague, lives and works in the Keys, so they both know the Florida Keys. I've been there many, many times. You would love it. If you've never been, you got to go and buy a home. That'd be good. Existing homes for sale down there, and they're Minnesotan through and through, both of these folks I'm talking about, Kristen. Look, she's the best. There's no question about it. They're Minnesotan through and through. Contact them by heading to onekeywest.com. That is onekeywest.com.
Is that text you're sending so important that you missed your turn? Is that text you're sending so important that you ran the red light? Is that text you're sending so important you didn't see the ball coming onto the road or the child that followed? Hi, I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. When you take your eyes off the road for even 4 seconds, your vehicle travels 100 yards. That's the entire length of a football field. If you absolutely have to text, you need to pull off the road somewhere safe and do it from there. Texting and driving is against the law and can cause serious injury or even death to you and others. Now that is important. We hope you're never injured in a collision, but if you are, please contact us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Going farther with Mike Bryant all sides, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
All right, here we go. I'm so happy to welcome back our longtime friend, Sabre Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, to the show. I've known Steve, the owner, for many years, and I completely trust Sabre to keep my house comfortable. Why? Sabre does everything the right way, and they always put the customer first. I love the team at Sabre because their service experts are experienced NATE certified technicians. They are not salespeople. Their pricing is completely upfront, and they fix only what needs to be fixed, nothing more. Sabre is dedicated to giving customers what they need, when they need it, and at the fair price, keeping your family safe and comfortable without breaking the bank. Give Sabre Heating and Air Conditioning a try. I know they'll take care of you just like they've taken care of me and my family. Whether you need a new Bryant furnace or air conditioner replaced, or just simply need a service call to get you going again, go to saberheating.com. That is SABRE heating.com. Sabre and Bryant, whatever it takes. What do you think of that action, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, baby.
Answer me.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are you going to do? Oh, I'm getting some questions from people. Have you been reaching out to Brad Blanks at all? Because they kind of miss him. Anybody know about that?
You can get him on. Yeah, I'll reach
Because
out.
we talked about that. Yeah, I talked about that a couple of months ago, getting him back on because people really do like him. He's a great guy in any case. But yeah, if you could reach out to him. Brad Blank's one of my favorite people to work with. Well, I mean, other than you guys, obviously, it's just a given.
We're no Brad Blanks. Like, Brad Blanks is better than all of us. He's hilarious.
You decided?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's the best.
To this day, and AJ, have you ever seen the video of him when he's on his knees talking to a couple of, what is it, Jennifer Aniston and
Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler. Have you ever seen that video?
No.
Do me a favor. Have you ever seen it, Tevin?
Oh yeah, I've seen it a couple times.
That's what I thought. I wasn't sure about that though. But if bring it up, because the audio is phenomenal as well. You don't have to put it up on the screen; just the audio playing in the background would be cool. He's interviewing Aniston and Adam Sandler, and he's on his knees because they don't realize how big he is. He's 6'6" and pretty wide guy. I mean, he's got very broad-shouldered. He's 6'5", 6'6", something like that. One of the nicest guys you'd ever want to work with. But honest to God, have you got it dialed up, AJ?
I'm working on it right now. There's an ad that I need to get through, and then I think I have it here.
Okay.
What?
Well, I sent it to you in your email and your text.
You have to sit through an ad? That's very hard to believe.
Right?
Right.
Jesus, that is so amazing to me. But I mean, is there any way you could put it up on the screen for people? Because if they've never seen it, they might want to see it as well.
No, there's not really a way.
Okay,
for me to
no
present
problem.
it, unfortunately.
I didn't think there was, but I thought I'd ask him. What the hell's wrong with you? Did you get stabbed in the face?
Yeah.
Kevin, what happened?
Scratch myself. I'm fine. Nothing. We're good.
Oh, well, it looks like you were going under.
Oh no.
I think I have it. It's a kind of it's like a mashup of him talking to a bunch of people, but I found him talking to Aniston and Sandler. So here we go.
Oh, you will love this.
Having trouble with a line.
That's pretty good. That's clear.
I remember that. He had a hard time saying that.
And I can't say the word manipulate too well. I got it now, but she changed it to scheme. Schemey.
Schemey, which worked out better.
Now, this whole thing is built on a lie. Have you ever lied to try to get someone's attention?
Yes. Yeah, constantly. You lie all the way. You lie.
Crouching.
I'm such a big guy, and I get in the way of the.
Well, what are you getting in the way of? Oh, the camera. Yeah. Oh, I see.
Oh my God, that's awful. That's not right. I can't go. Put your hat on and get out of here.
Oh my God.
When he says that, the hat he's talking about is the thatched roof on the hut.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be his hat.
Oh, it was so funny. He just keeps standing up. It's like he doesn't stop. It's
Yeah, it's one of those deals. He gets up and gets up and gets up and gets up. It's if you've never seen it, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great video, no doubt about it. Well, this is a nice thing to run across in the news. School hate crime. Racist kid yells N-word while attacking black girl, breaks her nose and hospitalizes her. Black girl she got suspended?
What?
Okay, I guess I don't know why that would be. In a shocking, horrifying incident at Shawnee Mission East High School, a black student was hospitalized after being attacked by a white male student. The victim, Jesus, this is weird. The victim's unjust suspension sparks outrage and demands for systemic change. Oh, there's actually pictures of it too. I scrolled down. This guy, he's got a hell of an attitude. I'll tell you that. In a shocking hate crime at Shawnee Mission East High School, a black girl and student was viciously attacked by a white male student. The incident unfolded last week when Bree nonviolently confronted a white female student for using racial slurs and calling black students slaves. Okay, let's stop there for a second. You're in high school now. Aren't you old enough to know what should and should not be puked out of your face?
Yeah.
Yes, and you're also old enough to get beat down for the words that you say in the hallway.
Yeah.
I agree.
Accountability. Absolutely.
I agree with you.
don't
After their
like-
argument, they peacefully parted ways. However, as they were walking away, a male student previously uninvolved aggressively shouts for Bree to shut the F up. Numerous student witnesses appear surprised and appalled, and Bree responds by asking, "What did he say?" The male student then charges toward Bree while repeatedly hurling the big N. And by the way, it's the picture of the guy. He's a scrawny little prick, which doesn't surprise me in the least.
Yeah, not at all.
It's 2023. What the hell is this all about now?
It blows my mind. I remember, Tom, I don't know if this was in your school, but in my school, they were like, there's zero tolerance for violence. If two people get in a fight, both of you are getting suspended. And I always thought, like, maybe I'll understand when I'm older, like, why that just seems so weird. And now as I'm an adult, I go, that's a dumb rule. Like, if one person starts a fight and the other person, I would want my kid to defend themselves and hit back. And I don't feel like there should be punishment for being in a fight that you didn't start.
Right. No, that's exactly. He just stuck his nose where it didn't belong. But see, there it is. What did I say this morning? Our education system is all about the money, and our media pretty much all about the money. Well, our political parties definitely are.
Yeah.
Listen to this. This just popped up on my screen while reading that story. Support radical black media. Donations matched up to 12 times. It's always about money with the people in charge, isn't it? It's always about money.
So this girl got suspended as well, or?
Yeah. Well, no, he didn't get suspended. He didn't.
They both got suspended.
Oh, did they? They did both get suspended.
Yep.
But why would they suspend her?
I don't.
I'm guessing it's because of the rule that's like if you get in any fight altercation, like that's like the default. You have to be suspended.
Right.
So.
And I would assume, depending on when this happened, as it all unfolds, it's like she got a 3-day suspension. He's gone for a week, which is most likely going to turn to an expulsion. Either way, depending on the demographic of this school, he's going to have to find a new school. Because if he comes back, one, you hit a female student.
Yeah.
And two, you're like yelling all this racist stuff. Like, I'm assuming there's more students there that are not going to be excited to see you back if he came back.
Yeah, I don't understand in 2023 how this would even happen. Where the hell? So these people are what, 13, 14, 15 years old, something like that? Or
Yeah, probably somewhere between 15 and 18, most likely.
Yeah.
Or so was it a high school?
Yeah, I think it said it's a high school. So that's like what, 18, 17, 16, 15-year-olds?
Yeah, somewhere in there. So you don't know by the time you're 17, 18 years old not to do things like this?
Oh, no, he does know not to do things like that, which is why
he pulled it out.
Yeah.
But for what's the great ending to that? How could that possibly end well?
I don't think he was really thinking that far ahead in his day.
He's just that stupid.
I feel like people with like that ingrained in their mind probably don't think too far ahead on most things,
Right.
No, I suppose not. First of all, you're not involved in the initial thing anyway. And as you're walking about, but again, I think it's because he's a scrawny little prick and he had to show what a tough guy he was. You think that's what it was?
It very well could be if he's somewhere that got bullied by other, like his male counterparts, and now he's got to pick on somebody his own size, so he hits a woman.
It's the whole thing makes no sense to me. That doesn't make any. Oh my God. You guys sent some great stories this morning, by the way. Grinch tries to steal Christmas, stands in front of elementary school with a sign. Now he's dressed up as the Grinch in a Santa outfit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the picture, and he's holding up a sign at an elementary school. So that's what, through 6th grade?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kindergarten to 6, K through 6.
It depends on the school, but
does it?
Yeah, mine was
grade.
kindergarten through 4th.
Mine was K through 6.
Oh, okay. So there you go. But he's standing in front of the school with a sign that says, "Santa is fake, Jesus is real."
What is going on? What is people in this Grinch thing are going too far. Like,
So explain that to me because I don't know about this. I'm glad you brought that up.
so it was like 3 or 4 years ago, instead of having Santas, people have Grinches. And they have this like elaborate Grinch outfit, and they like to run around and like fake steal thing and scare kids. And they like, if you can go meet and talk to a Grinch instead of a Santa, and they'll like, poke fun at you. It's like when you go to those like those restaurants where they're mean to you. But I feel like this is a chance for some people who maybe should have never like done stand up or gotten a chance to interact on this level with the community, where they're like getting all the attention, and they next level it in a really weird way where they're like, I'm the center of attention now. I can do all these things. And you're like, I don't love this. And like this guy feeling so like the embodiment that he stands in front of an elementary school is insane. Nobody needs to see the Grinch at 7 a.m. Okay.
I would have to agree with you on that. And also, most people don't realize that Santa Claus was based on a real person, St. Nicholas.
Yeah.
Do most people not know that Santa Claus is just another way of saying St. Nicholas?
All I know is
I think
I'm
most
gonna be on that good list.
Do you think they know it?
Yeah, I feel like that's most people know. I feel like they told me that in school.
Yeah.
Like that it was a guy from like England or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, why would you put Santa is fake? No, actually, St. Nicholas was a real person.
Well, I mean, technically Santa's fake, I think.
Whoa.
Whoa, hey,
Uh-oh.
for all the kids out there listening to the show right now, Tevin is a dirty, rotten liar. You keep being good and you're going to get those presents, all right?
Well, I mean, was I standing outside of that elementary school with a sign? Maybe.
Yeah, I saw
Probably.
I saw a little green fuzz on you when you walked in.
That's why my shirt looks green today.
Yeah, instead of blue, it looks green. Exactly.
It's funny to take that stance. Like, if Jesus and Nicholas were all real people at one point and have, rest in peace, gone on, why would you pick one and have a fight about it? Like, what?
I know. I don't understand all this stuff anyway. I mean, how many different religions are there on the planet Earth?
At least 4.
More than I can count.
Probably.
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot of them. I don't understand why it is, because my belief is in one particular thing, that it's better than your belief. I don't get it.
No, I don't get it.
Explain that to me.
But I do know that Santa is real and Jesus is just as real. So is whatever. I don't care. It's all real. Just
somebody should go to that guy's church dressed as Jesus and with a sign that says Santa's real, Jesus is fake.
I love it. It's a great idea. I think it's a great idea. Well, it's like my favorite picture, the crossover where Jesus has got his feet up watching hockey.
Yeah.
It was magnificent. I love that picture.
Love
It's
it.
one of the best pictures of all time. The Grinch did try to steal Christmas dressed as the Grinch. David Grisham carried a sign during the morning drop-off at Sleepy Hollow Elementary in Amarillo, Texas, that read, "Santa is fake, Jesus is real. Parents, as you might imagine, were not too happy to see him. One dad grabbed the sign and threw it on the ground." I'm surprised he didn't get punched.
I'm surprised he didn't get shot in Texas.
Well, that's true. It is in Texas. That's true. Another parent told ABC7 News Grisham shouldn't be pushing his agenda any people's kids. I don't know what the hell that means. Police were called to the school, but they did not arrest the Grinch. APD said Grisham was lawfully on the sidewalk and was not breaking any laws. And I understand that. But what's the point? Yet again, why? Because you didn't get the gifts you want when you were a kid. Now you have to ruin it for all the other kids. Is that what it is?
I think that it should be illegal for you to have weird signs within 6 blocks of a school. Like,
yeah,
I'm all for protesting, but like, what do you mean this isn't illegal? It's weird.
I feel like this guy is also the same person that's going to turn around in like election season and be like, they're pushing the woke agenda down our throats. I would never do that.
Absolutely.
I would never force my beliefs on somebody else. Like, come on, man. Have a little.
I feel like, and I feel like it was something where he was, this is going to be hilarious for like an online video or something like that.
I'm going to really shake things up.
It's a bad joke. And I think just in general, if you don't have kids that go to that school, or you're not working at that school, you shouldn't just be hanging out.
You shouldn't be
unless
hanging
you're
out.
No,
that's also a concern.
You should just be running past the school. Take your little Grinch sign somewhere else, because it'll be just as not funny if you're standing outside of Walmart as it was outside.
And Tom, imagine this. Like, this guy did the full green paint. Like, Tom, imagine. He's in the morning. It's 5 a.m. because he's got to get there by school.
yeah.
Just
Oh, yeah.
dot, dab, getting his face all green. Like, I'm going to really make change out there today. Green.
There's so much that's going into this that he never had the second thought of, do I really need to?
Right.
Did he just go to the first school that was like closest to his house, or did he pick this one specifically?
Oh, I'd say specifically. He had an agenda. There's no question about that. So I'm assuming he would pick it. Maybe you're right, though. Maybe just wandered up on a school and went, I'll do it here.
It's got the cutest name, too. You said it, but it's, Sleepy Hollow. Like,
Sleepy
leave
Hollow.
him alone. It's cute.
Also, was there a need to add the Jesus element to the Grinch's sign? Like, you could have
That was
just
the whole
left
point.
it Santa's fate. Like,
No, the whole point was that Jesus is real. The
Yeah.
Grinch part wasn't that important.
No.
And all of that stuff was not important. The Jesus part was the part. Listen, you have to understand something. If I believe in something, I'm going to shove it down your throat as fast and far as I can. I don't know why people are like that. Once again, you have specific beliefs about what happens after death. Good for you. I'm happy for you. You probably are a lot more calm than I am in general. And I'm one of those people, got to be honest with you. I got to believe there's something a lot bigger than we are. So I don't know if it's God or what it is. I don't have any specific religious beliefs on that.
Yeah.
But I would hope there's something a lot better than the assholes that I've been around my whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think there's something bigger than myself kind of keeps me grounded. I like imagining that. And I also don't I think a great thought exercise is you take somebody you kind of know. Like I know Tevin well. And I go, what if he was a flat earther? How would that affect me? It really doesn't. Like, there might be times where I'm like, you're such a fool, and then like laugh about it to him because we're friends. But like, it doesn't really affect me ever if he decides to think that.
I would say I'll push back a little bit. If I was a flat earther, you would know, because flat earthers love to talk about the fact that it's like people with Costco memberships, like, or vegans. You don't just casually not know, like, oh, I didn't know that.
And
No,
they're
going to tell you.
They also do CrossFit and
CrossFit. That's another one.
That's
Yeah,
we just described the worst person of all time.
Oh, Tom, you know that.
Costco membership that thinks the earth is flat.
I have a question for you.
Oh, yeah.
If the earth is flat, why has nobody ever found the edge?
Because the government doesn't want you to find the earth.
What?
Oh,
Where do those airplanes go? How come and you're up in an airplane, go, oh, look, there's the end of the earth. The water's all going over the edge. Why has no one ever seen that if the earth is flat?
Oh, the water doesn't go over the edge because there's an ice cap around.
Oh, I didn't know
the
that.
entire. Yeah, I've watched a flat Earth documentary on Netflix because I was
God, are you actually a flat earther?
So I used to work with a guy that was a flat earther, and every day and I would like ask him questions like, well, what about this? What about this? And he always had like a rebuttal. So there was a flat Earth documentary that came out in like 2019 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And so I watched it. I was like, maybe they make a good point. And I got 5 minutes in and I was like, this is nuts. Cause it's completely insane. Like nothing makes sense.
The only thing I can think about is the the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie where it's like at World's End and they have to literally drive off the edge of the world to go like rescue Johnny Depp or whatever. That must be a flat earther's favorite movie because it literally shows just like a flat earth and then they just fall into an abyss.
Yeah. Well, there was a guy on YouTube. I'm not sure what his name is, but he's a very popular flat earther. And he tries to debunk this, the fact that it's round. And so anyway, so he sets up this elaborate experiment. He's like, this is the moment that's going to prove to everybody that the earth is flat. And then he proves that the earth is round and the video just cuts off. It's
Whoops.
Yeah, never mind.
Well, all of these pictures from outer space, those are all fake then? Because it's obviously a globe.
Yeah, essentially anything that's too hard to debunk, they just go with it's fake. And there's enough fake news out there because it's been, on the agenda since, the Reagan administration.
Okay, I have a question for all flat earthers everywhere. If the earth is flat, there is no rotation. So how are we staying on the planet? Where's the gravity come from?
Tom, you're overthinking it.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Tom, essentially what they believe is the Earth is
There
like
you
a
go.
vinyl record, and that you put the needle on and it spins. That's what the Earth is.
Why do they believe that? I mean, what is the upside of believing that?
It's simple and it's fine. Let them have it. Like,
Oh, I don't care. You want to believe the earth is flat, good for you. I don't care about that kind of stuff. I don't get worked up about any of that bullshit.
no,
I just
and
don't.
it's like a blankie. Like,
Yeah,
if
I
that's
guess.
what they need, that's fine.
In
I
a
get
way,
it. Some
it
people have
kind
Xanax. Some people have flat Earth. It's fine.
In a way, it kind of would be cool if it was all of a sudden proven that the Earth is flat. Because like, oh, that's cool. That's like different than what I was thinking. Or like,
Sure.
whatever.
That guy at work would be texting you so hard.
I'm just thinking about, based on your like blanket analogy, just like a flat earth. They're having a really long and stressful day. They're so overwhelmed. They get home and they just go to like a map that's flat on the wall. They're like, I needed this. They're just rubbing like India.
God, the things that people come up with and think and all the rest of it and blah, blah, blah. There was a movie on, Catherine and I, we didn't watch it. We were watching it for about 5 minutes. And I guess it's true, but I did some research on it, and there are a lot of places that say it's true. But the whole reason for World War II in the world, sorry, what was the reason that the World War II started?
Isn't that guy Ferdinand got shot?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly right. But that's reality.
To clarify, do you mean World War I or World War II?
World War II.
Wasn't World War II the Holocaust?
Yeah.
It was a Holocaust. That's exactly. But
Oh, yeah,
what
I'm thinking of
caused the
World War
war?
One.
Okay.
What caused the war is my question. Not that there was a war. What caused it?
Holocaust? Was it that?
Well, the Holocaust happened during the war.
Yeah, but I thought that's why we got into it, right?
Well, it is. Yes, absolutely. But apparently, there are all these articles out now, and I looked some up, and there are tons of them. The World War II started because Adolf Hitler was gay and didn't want to admit it. There's actually stories about that.
Oh, like
Yeah.
why he initiated all the things.
Yes.
I see what you're saying.
I get what you're saying. I was a little, yeah.
There's like an old theory about like a sandwich being stolen or whatever is the reason why World War I started. So I thought that's the path you were going down.
No, but there are all these articles because I never even heard of it. And then what the hell was I watching? I was watching something about World War II or whatever, and I was doing some research, and all of a sudden that popped up that the reason that Hitler went so berserk is because he was gay and didn't want to admit it. I'm like, what?
If I was gay, I would be like, we do not claim Hitler. He is super straight.
I would have to agree with you. Yeah, don't come over on my side. Get the hell away from me. It's just the stuff that people come up with, though. Once again, I never understood if somebody's gay, why do you care? Good for them. They are who they are. Good for you. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd love a wife.
Yeah.
You'd be a horrible husband.
I'd love a man. I would love. There's so many women in my life. I go, man, I'd love a wife.
Like, name a couple.
Catherine would be an amazing wife. I see her pick up
here we
in your
go.
living room, and I go, wow, I wish I had one of those. My mom, Priscilla, my friend Michelle,
Okay.
Lindsay, any woman in my life, I would love a wife at my house all the time. It'd be amazing.
I understand exactly why. Now, this is going to be an interesting segue, and I don't know how I'm going to pull this off, but the headline of the next story is poop in a Pringles can.
When you got to go, you got to go.
I guess if you're out there, a lawyer was suspended for tossing feces-filled Pringles can. So he did it on purpose.
It's impressive. Do you poop right into it or scoop it later?
Well, we're going to find out right now. Supreme Court of Ohio today suspended a Noble County criminal defense attorney for 1 year with 6 months aid for throwing a Pringles can, potato chip can, they describe it as, filled with his feces into the parking lot of the county's Crime Victim Advocacy Center. In a divided opinion, the Supreme Court found Jack A. Blacksley, maybe it's Blakesley, who knows, Jack A. Blakesley, I think it is, engaged in the conduct that adversely reflects on his fitness to practice law. Blakesley claimed he was not targeting anyone with his antics, but had a habit of placing his waste in poop. He always apparently puts his poop in Pringle cans.
Could you? even imagine having to tell your significant other why
No.
you're suspended from work?
Why is this a habit for this guy?
I don't know. Why does he keep doing it?
Yeah, I was really trying to make an excuse, like he was late for work, had to go poop.
Right.
Stop. He pooped in a Pringles can.
Yep.
And also, he's eating a lot of Pringles. Maybe that has something to do with his bowel schedule. Like,
Also, in this story, they called it potato chips, but I think by law you're not allowed to call Pringles potato chips. They're like
Yeah.
they're not, I forget the name of them. They're like crisps or something.
Probably. I can't stand them. I think
Me
they're
neither, but
Ugh.
I like the organization of them,
Yeah.
but I wish
understand
they
that.
tasted better.
Visually pleasing, but not tastefully.
Not very tasteful. No, they taste.
Yeah, do they even have a taste, actually?
It's like plywood for chips.
Yeah, I
Like,
guess. That's probably true.
And then just throw like seasoned dust over it, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, this is chive and onion.
The court found that there was clear and convincing evidence that he chose the the Haven of Hope parking lot as his drop spot to get a thrill from parking. Well, he loves to prank everyone, apparently. He loves to victimize people by pranking them.
who's opening these? I would just never open a
No.
rogue Pringle
like,
container.
oh my gosh, I found some Pringles.
Well, this is like the worst version of like the snake in the can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I just, but it never gets to the point of why he would do this in the first place. He keeps pooping in Pringle cans. Why? Are you
He's not
doing this?
actually pooping in. He's got to scoop it because how do you know how much is going to come out? Like, what if it's too much?
You can't fill up a Pringle can.
He's got to scrape
There's
off the top to get the lid on.
If you pooping more than a Pringle can, I think you're sick. Like
I don't know.
it's a big container.
I guess I don't know.
The story is just amazing. The guy cannot stop pooping in Pringle cans.
You can't stop because what happens when you pop? You
Once you
can't
pop,
stop.
the fun don't stop.
I just feel like he's sitting there, be like, I gotta have a shtick. Like I'm gonna be the pranking lawyer,
Yeah.
pranking attorney, and what's my shtick? I'm gonna poop in a Pringles can, and you're gonna open it, and I'm gonna have a laugh. Yeah.
Oh, Tom, I think AJ's right because like once a year I try to have like a tagline, and this year it was this coffee's too damn hot.
It's too damn hot, man. Chief Justice Sharon L. Kennedy and Justice Michael P. Donnelly, I guess it is, Melody Stewart and Joseph T. Dieters joined the opinion. Justice R. Patrick DeWine concurred in judgment only, saying that apparently this guy has got to stop throwing poop cans at people. That would make sense, don't you think?
What a funny email or like citation to write off. Like please, sir, we beg of you, please quit defecating in Pringles cans.
I have a question for you. Does he take an old juice bottle with that big opening if he has the diarrhea and just poop in that? Because you wouldn't have diarrhea in a Pringles can, would you?
I think it's waterproof. Like I think it could take some diarrhea.
You think it is?
I think it is because I mean they have to prevent things from getting in the can when they think about the design. So I bet it could handle for a short amount of time. It could handle some diarrhea.
You think so? Oh yeah, it couldn't be too long because it'd go through the cardboard.
Eventually, yeah, and it might be a little bit of like aluminum foil on the inside or something.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I
something
think
has to keep it fresh. So you're right. I bet you there is
Yeah.
aluminum foil in there.
I'd look into it, but I refuse to buy Pringles. So
Never been a fan. I don't know. Do they come in different flavors at all? Just that one fake potato chip flavor? Oh, they
Yeah,
do like barbecue and that stuff.
my mom used to get us the low sodium ones. They were like a little less salt, and then we would try like the original red can, and it would be like, whoa, this is intense.
Oh, really? It's a lot of salt.
Yeah,
I think I have literally only had Pringles once in my life and never went back.
you could stop.
Yeah, I don't know. I looked at them like they're very convenient because they're all stacked up. So that part I did like that.
I know.
But it's like, well, this is like eating air.
Yeah.
There's not much to it. It's salty air, basically, is what it tasted like.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not
No, it
great.
really
And
isn't.
it's like mushy. And when you bite into it, it's just not good. It's not the one you want.
I understand. We do have to take a break here. Be right back in a couple minutes.
This is the Tom Barnard Show. This is Bob Sansevier, and I want to tell you about Dave Bialki from Bialki Law. Dave represented my wife, Mary, when she had a significant workplace injury. She was very happy with the job Dave did. If you have a work-related injury and have Dave represent you, I'm betting you'll be happy too. Dave is a down-to-earth guy. He grew up in northern Minnesota, rides a Harley, and worked various jobs doing concrete, electrical, plumbing, roofing, and carpentry work. Dave works for people with work-related injuries. If you work construction, or anywhere for that matter, and you're hurt or even just hurting, you should talk to Dave. Let's face it, our bodies wear out. If your body is worn out from work, if your knees or back or shoulders hurt from things you do at work, do what Mary did. Call Dave and talk to him about it at Bialki Law to set up a free initial consultation. The number to call is 763-571-2410. That's 763-571-2410. Or visit bialkilaw.com. That's BIALKE law.com.
Is that text you're sending so important that you missed your turn? Is that text you're sending so important that you ran the red light? Is that text you're sending so important you didn't see the ball coming onto the road or the child that followed? Hi, I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant. When you take your eyes off the road for even 4 seconds, your vehicle travels 100 yards. That's the entire length of a football field. If you absolutely have to text, you need to pull off the road somewhere safe and do it from there. Texting and driving is against the law and can cause serious injury or even death to you and others. Now that is important. We hope you're never injured in a collision, but if you are, please contact us.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Going farther with Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
Guys, if you want to reignite your intimacy once and for all, listen. Just give Twin Cities Premier Health a call for a discreet and confidential in-office evaluation by their highly trained staff of medical professionals. Acoustic wave therapy sessions are 25 to 30-minute treatments with no pain, no downtime afterward. And right now, Twin Cities Premier Health is offering a free treatment and a free consultation when you book today. Receive this $800 value when you use code word TOM at TwinCitiesPremierHealth.com. You may know that age-related erectile dysfunction is most commonly caused by a buildup of plaque in the arteries that supply blood to the erectile tissue. Acoustic wave therapy can rescue your relationship and has been clinically proven to break up plaque. Definitely take advantage of this limited time special offer. Receive a free treatment and a free consultation when you book today. This is a savings of $800 when you use code word TOM at TwinCitiesPremierHealth.com. Be sure to use promo code TOM so we get credit for sending you. I wouldn't recommend a service like this unless I knew they could help you. TwinCitiesPremierHealth.com. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Just saw a headline that I don't really understand, but it's from Rolling Stone, that piece of shit. So now I understand the headline. Does anybody even read Rolling Stone anymore? I mean, anybody?
No, I don't think so. I didn't think anybody ever read Rolling Stone. You just looked at the cover and then went about your day.
Because I don't really understand this. It says good riddance. Those are the first 2 words. That's the headline, good riddance. And then under that it says another headline, Henry Kissinger, war criminal beloved by America's ruling class, finally dies.
Jesus.
What the hell is that all about?
So they're not fans.
You hated the guy? Is that the ticket? So your job as a reporter is to show me your feelings about, I don't give a rat's ass what your feelings are about Henry Kissinger. I didn't know much about it. He worked with Nixon, I think, if I remember correct. Yeah, here it is right here. The infamy of Nixon's foreign policy architect sits eternally beside that of history's worst mass murderers. Apparently, this author, Spencer Ackerman, didn't care for Henry Kissinger.
Dang.
Jesus. I don't remember. The only thing I remember about him is he had that deep accent. And they used to make fun of him a lot on what was the show, Laugh-In? I think there was a show back in the day called Laugh-In. They used to, you know, like bust on him once in a while. But I don't really understand. This is why no one reads your piece of shit newspaper. Yeah. I don't know anything about Henry Kissinger. I don't know what you're talking about here. I should probably maybe do a little research because I was I believe a teenager when this was all going on. So I don't really care. But good riddance. That's the guy lived to be 100 years old, by the way.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's interesting. But I don't know if there's one person on earth that I would wish to die. Think about that. You got anybody you wish would die?
What about those 2 people you're going to kill before you kick the bucket?
Yeah.
I don't wish them to be dead. They just shouldn't get in my way, is all I'm saying.
Oh boy.
What?
It's a little bit less blurry lines there, sir.
Less blurry line. I just said there's a possibility I might take it. If I find out I'm dying, I might take a couple people out. I'm not sure. Maybe in fact, to find out that I'm dying, I would go, maybe I'll call Spencer Ackerman at Rolling Stone and go, you sound brilliant. Why don't you give me an idea?
Right. But I'm with you, Tom. There's nobody that I dislike enough.
No.
Like, I wish you would die.
And put it out in a national publication. Good riddance that Henry Kissinger died at 100 years old. Good. I'm glad he's dead.
That was like it was like trending last night on Twitter.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, but it was under the comments of like R.I.P. Bozo. Finally, he's dead. That type of thing. Like,
what did he ever do? I mean, maybe I should have paid closer attention.
He was pretty much the orchestrator of, during the Vietnam War, like bombings of Cambodian villages, which killed anywhere from like 50 to 150,000 just like civilians in an effort to kind of suppress the uprising that was going there. And then he was also like the main orchestrator of a lot of like coup d'etats, like in Chile in 73. He was like the orchestrator that helped get the Democratic elected, I forget his name, but Pinochet got him to power.
Pinochet,
yeah. So like, you know, people, did he do a lot? Yeah. There was also some stuff where it's like, that's very questionable. I don't know if celebrating someone's death is always the right move. So I'll say that, but I not everybody's perfect. This guy may be more so than others, but it's still a person at the end of the day.
And the reason I do remember his name, and it was during the Nixon administration. So you're looking back at like 1970? Is that when did Nixon get elected? I don't even remember.
I'd have to look it up.
I think I was a teenager, if I remember correctly. I do not remember when he got elected, but I wasn't paying a lot of attention when I was in my late teens, early 20s.
69 to 74.
69. So that's perfect. So there you go. I was 17 years old. So that's why I don't know anything about this guy. Because for a period when I was like 17 to about maybe 25, I didn't pay any attention to politics at all. That's why I don't know anything about this guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I had other things to focus on other than, national politics. And, Nixon got kicked out of office. So a couple of things must have gone wrong. But I don't know. I guess, sir, you want to write an article that says, thank God he's dead. I guess, you know what? Freedom of speech, good for you. You want the guy dead, now he's dead. Are you happy?
Apparently he is.
Good. Yeah. I guess he maybe is. I'm sure he felt a weird bliss roll over him as he pressed publish.
Yeah, the sun just kind of peeked out from behind the clouds and his face felt warm. It's like, oh, Kissinger must have died.
I guess. I mean, that's a pretty strong position. I don't know if I've ever read that about any other international figure that people were. I mean, even when Hitler died, where they said writing in a newspaper, "Thank God he's finally dead."
I bet.
Sure,
I bet on that one for
Hitler's,
sure.
Obama, Saddam Hussein type people.
I saw Irish people dancing in the streets after King Elizabeth died here in the past year or so.
Queen Elizabeth, they were dancing in the streets when she died.
Yeah, Irish hate the royalty.
Yeah.
I've seen clips of there was a moment of silence as like a Irish team was playing some English team, and all of a sudden, just in the silence, some guy, Lizzie's in a box, Lizzie's in. And then it was just
terrible. Well, I say a lot. Once again, it's freedom of speech, freedom of thought, all the rest of it. You do what you do. I don't know much about it. I really can't think of anyone that I would go, oh, God, good, he died. I'm really happy that he or she died. Even if I killed them, I wouldn't be happy they're dead. You know what I mean?
I don't know if you're I feel like you're talking out of both sides of your mouth on some of this
How
stuff.
are you going to kill somebody but then be sad that they're dead? You're the one that killed them.
But could you make me sad? Other things I've done have made me sad. Like being on this show.
Like this conversation.
Right now. I'm not really wild about that either. But no, I don't know. It's just, like I said, I didn't know anything about Henry Kissinger. I remember the name, and they used to make fun of him on the comedy shows. well, who was that again? The two people that you guys are too young to remember the show Laugh-In. I'm sure you probably never even heard of it, have you?
Yeah, that's with was it Carol Burnett?
Carol Burnett was not on it, but it was that era. It was the same
Okay.
era. There were a couple of guys on it.
It was like Dan Rowan, Dick Martin, Jr.
Yeah, Ronan Martin. That's exactly right. And it was very political. It got to be a very, very political show. And, so they used to go after Kissinger a lot on that show, if I remember correctly. But again, from the time I was about 17 till I was about 25, I didn't pay any attention to politics or any of this other bullshit because the Vietnam War was going on. And I tell you what, that does change the world quite a bit when you got the skirmishes going on across the, kind of what's going on now in the Middle East. Very, very much the situation. Well, it's got to be tough when you're sitting there waiting for the new prisoners to be released on either side, I'm sure. And yet it's still not your son or daughter. That's got to be tough, man. Imagine that.
Terrible.
Yep. Hey, they released 10 prisoners, but none of them are your relative.
Oh.
That would be a bitch. That would
Even
be.
them like figuring out like who's alive, who's dead. I watch these videos and I just cry. Oh.
Yeah.
I understand.
I saw an article where they were saying there was an infant and like his 5-year-old brother or something that were part of the hostage thing. And I was like, if I'm a hostage taker, baby is a lot of work. Like you can just leave the baby. Forget all the ethical issues with it. That's just a lot of work. Somebody's got
babies are a lot of work.
Change him. They're crying all the time. Like one less headache.
That's also the one that you're gonna like have that emotional attachment to, just because like you're not talking, like it's crying and it's like rightfully so. It whatever. Right. But like compared to like a 30-year-old who's talking, like why with so many questions? Why are you doing this? Why Yeah, leave the baby. Leave the baby.
And I'm just imagining some, masked hostage taker like bouncing the baby on his knee, like, come on, like what's wrong?
I hope they're nice to him. But part of me feels like they don't even change him.
Yeah.
But we can't talk about this too much. I get really weird. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to an important topic then, because I don't want you getting all sad. Okay. The headline is, how many calories do you burn when you fart? That's a story that you guys sent to me. So don't be trying to lean back and go, well, I don't know.
I sent this. And I didn't look at the amount because I really was like, we could find out together. But I'm guessing 10.
I think it's less than that.
For a fart?
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's high. I'm going to say it's 100.
No, 100 is like like that's like a half of a Snicker bar.
I'm going to say it's like 2 calories.
Okay, but there are differences here because there's the silent but deadly, and then there are other ones that you have to bear down, right?
Right, and if it's like the one where the guy thought he was having a heart attack and rushed to the hospital,
right,
and that's more than 2 calories.
Oh, that definitely is more than 2 calories, no question. Okay, I have the answers for you now.
Okay.
The internet asks some interesting questions. Some are amusing, some are absurd, and some are actually quite thought-provoking. Does farting burn calories? Is one question the internet asked in 2012. This is 11 years ago. Okay, we dug this out of the archive, did we?
Yeah, it resurfaced in mainstream stuff, so I didn't know it was that old.
Health Digest.
No, I'm saying it resurfaced, like people are posting about this online, so I thought it'd be interesting.
No, I think it is interesting. I have no idea. This is unbelievable. In a way, all three of you are correct. I know that's hard to believe.
Ooh. Me more than you two, but
yeah, absolutely. That's a big difference. According to a widely shared social media post, the average person could burn up to 67 calories by farting just once.
Dang.
So you went with 100. AJ went with 2. So you kind of met in the middle. And then when you put Tevin in there, it moves it from 50% to 67%. 67 calories.
Dang.
So basically, you guys were saved by this article because in a way, you're all three correct.
Maybe the only reason I'm still alive.
You're farting?
Yeah.
Like, excuse me, I need to go exercise real quick.
Right to the bathroom.
Yeah, it's not farting. I'm exercising. That's exactly right.
I break a sweat doing both. So
exactly. That's an impressive number, but is the claim accurate? Do you really burn calories while indulging in this normal, albeit smelly bodily function? And if yes, how much? Unfortunately, there's no truth behind this social media fact. According to Tanya B. Ferrick, New York-based nutritionist and registered dietitian for Sweet Nova, tooting, which she defined as expelling excess gas in your digestive system through your anus. Well, it's a fart. You didn't have to go for a 2-line.
Yeah, I don't think her readers are not aware of what a fart is.
She gets paid per word, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, maybe. It's an activity that occurs when your muscles relax. In order for someone to burn calories, there has to be muscle activation, not inaction. So no, letting it rip is not one of those strange things you didn't know helped burn calories. So is she saying you don't burn any calories when you fart?
Yeah, I think that's what she's saying. We don't. This whole thing is a lie.
Well, now wait a minute. If you're straining to fart or farting excessively, it says you should see a doctor.
Good call.
So how could that hurt you though? If it doesn't really change anything, how would it hurt you?
I think if you're farting that much, something's not going right in your life. Like your body's not doing the right things. You're not eating the right things. I think there's like a combo.
Yeah, a little IBS.
I would like to thank the national media for sending a picture of a guy sitting on a toilet right now, and I'm looking at it. Thank you so much for that.
He's working out.
Oh, he's bearing down. Believe me, he's got to look at his face. He's like,
yeah, once you start making like the noise, yeah, then that's a workout.
oh, I've heard that many times in men's bathrooms around the world. It was like, Jesus, what have you been eating, for Christ's sake? Typically, a person farts anywhere between 10 and 20 times a day. Did you know that? I don't fart 20 times a day.
I don't think I fart 20 times a day. I feel like 10 seems right.
10?
Yeah, I would assume they probably could count like the passive ones where you don't even really notice that you farted. Like I'm sure.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's true. If you feel like you're farting more than average, you could be. You could try changing up your diet. Well, of course. I love that. You're farting because you eat. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but there are some things where I'll be like it's not even like generic like beans or whatever, but it's like things you just don't eat normally, and you're like, this is what it feels like to be gassy, and it's terrible.
Yeah, my grandpa growing up, it was onions. My grandpa was not allowed to put onions in anything, and I always thought he was allergic. And then when I got older, she was like, "No, you'll have to sleep outside if we put onions in any of the food."
Okay, I got to read this last paragraph, and then we got to move on because this last paragraph is too much for me. If you think you're experiencing persistent farting or strain farting, and if you notice other symptoms like loose stool, constipation, vomiting, weight loss, chest pain, heartburn, or bloody stool. Now, if you're farting and you got bloody stool, you're going to you got to head to the doctor, don't you?
These articles are so dumb because, like, if this is what's happening to you, are you really sitting down and reading an article about calories and farting? Or are you literally dying? And you probably didn't even finish this article.
Probably literally dying because people somebody sued somebody, so now they have to put this in there. I remember in high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, our team doctor. I remember I sprained my ankle and he was like, "Hey, go home over the weekend and ice it." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever, makes sense." And he was like, "But don't not literally all weekend, take the ice off sometimes." I was like, "Yeah, I'm not an idiot." And he was like, "Well, he was with the volleyball team in some other town. And he told this girl, go home, ice your ankle all weekend." And so the girl literally had an ice pack on her ankle all weekend and got frostbite and damn near had to amputate her leg because it was all messed up.
What the
actual people aren't smart. People aren't smart.
That's sad, though.
Yeah, so you have to put the disclaimer on there because otherwise people will take you literally, and now you're sitting at home with bloody stool and wet farts.
Thank you so much.
I don't know.
This is a very highbrow show we're doing today. There's no question about it.
Very highbrow.
In our defense, you clicked on the fart story.
And who sent it to me?
Yeah, but I feel like this one.
This one right here. Hold your arms up in the air. Both of them.
Now wave them like you just don't care.
There you go. That's a beautiful sweater. That's a sweater, isn't it?
Thank you. Yeah.
That's
I love
gorgeous.
this sweater. It's very soft too. Thank you. I like the sleeve detail too. It's a little different on each side.
See?
I was
Look at
really
that.
excited when you noticed just now. I got really pumped.
Oh, did you? It is very, very beautiful.
Thank you.
Not as nice as this really just plain green shirt,
Well,
which could be blue.
I've
like
been getting
Kevin.
really jealous about your guys' green, so we'll see what I wear on the next break.
Go ahead.
On screen, you see him as green, but looking through the window. Well, you're sitting across the desk. Well, yeah, you're looking through just like I am. But it's blue, actually. It's not green.
It's green. I don't care what anyone says. Fake news.
Top, what color are Brittany's flowers?
Purple, bluish purple.
Oh, I was maybe thinking we were going to find out you were colorblind your whole life, and you didn't know it until right now.
Yeah, that's another thing wrong with me. What do you write for the Star Tribune?
Yeah, Tevin.
Well, no, I had a teacher in middle school that he wore a shirt and the polo emblem was pink, and a kid made fun of him, like, "Oh, you got a pink little emblem?" And he was like, "What are you talking about? This is blue." And we all found out that day that he was colorblind because we just started bringing him colorful stuff, and he was getting it wrong.
He really thought he was going to burn somebody, and in the end, he was the one who was burnt.
Yep.
I wonder how old are you when you find out you're colorblind? I don't think I've ever known anybody that was colorblind.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because otherwise, how the hell would you know unless you did something like you guys did? Like, what color is that patch? And he thought it was what? He thought it was blue and it was pink.
Yeah, he thought it was like either blue or yellow or something, because it's like you can be red, green, or blue, whatever colorblind. And so we found out that he was a specific color blindness because he thought like yellow was pink.
And what causes that?
Oh,
something to do with the retina, I would assume. Let's see.
Yeah, it's got to be something like that. No question about it. But look at all the things we learned today. That there's no Grinch, but there is Jesus. That farts don't really burn 67 calories like they claim they did. Some people are colorblind. All we do on the show is educate. Have you ever noticed that?
That's what I feel like.
Yeah. People can go to tombernardshow.edu to download the show.
.edu, that's exactly right.
The scholarly college of Barnard.
Yeah, can you imagine me as a teacher? Hey, kids, shut the hell up. That'd be the whole school the whole day.
I'd be like in it for one day, and then after that, I go, I never want to do this again. I don't think I could do it day after day.
I'd have to agree with you on that one. It would be too much. You're absolutely right. I don't know a lot. I know who Banksy is. Don't know a lot about Banksy, but you see this Brexit mural that he painted is worth $12 million.
Yeah, it's huge too. And I wonder who gets to sell that. Like, that's what's always so confusing because it's out in public.
But I don't understand this. It's a blue background with, I believe, around 14, 15 yellow stars on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to say I'm very educated with Brexit, but how many countries were involved? No, because it's Brexit.
I misread that, by the way. It wasn't 12 million. It's 1.2 million.
No, okay.
Dang.
But I still don't understand why it's worth 1.2 million. It's a blue square with 14, 15, 16 stars in a circle.
Is like one star broken off at all? I gotta look at it.
Doesn't look like it.
I think it's just because of like who he is.
Yes, it's less about what the painting is and more about the fact that he's the one that painted it.
Yeah.
He's been around for a long time, hasn't he? For years, like 30, 40 years, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched a documentary on him, and when he did a New York like residency. So like he was in New York for a month, and his thing was he was gonna do painting every day or something like that. And if whatever he would do it on, people would run over there and try to like break it off buildings or destroy property because they wanted to own it, to sell it. And it was just kind of like disgusting in a weird way. They were literally tearing things down to get this piece of art that he drew.
Why were they doing that?
Because they could sell it for 1.2 million kind of thing.
Yeah.
I guess that's right. Headline just popped up, says consumers slowed their spending. Are there some financial problems we should know about? You guys know anything about this?
I'm shocked because all I hear is that people, like, we had one of our biggest Black Fridays ever. Cyber Monday, I guess, was huge too. That people are spending more than ever.
That's what I understand. I understood the same thing, but this one says consumer spending rose 0.2% last month, the slowest since May, and inflation cooled as the economy downshifted from a fast-paced summer. So I don't know. I don't know one way. Look, first of all, they're never going to be happy with whatever it is. There's always going to be something wrong.
Yeah.
I do have to point out also in the Wall Street Journal that Henry Kissinger dying, they're not as happy as they were over at the other shithole, whatever. What was that again? That publication?
Rolling Stone? No.
Rolling Stone. It was. Yeah, it was Rolling Stone. Henry Kissinger, who helped forward U.S. foreign policy during Vietnam and Cold Wars, dies at 100. So the Wall Street Journal thought he did a good job.
I think they
I
just.
don't know where to come in here.
I feel like they were just more factual. They probably walked the line of like, here's a fact of a man dying at this age.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't find the Wall Street Journal to be too political, do you?
No.
I don't
Doesn't
find
seem
them
like it.
ever.
You just don't look at the Wall Street Journal.
I mean, I do here and there, but it's not like one that I frequent because,
So what do you read? Or do you just watch television?
No, I don't even watch. I rarely watch television, but I guess I get my news sources from like things that are consorted for me. Like I like when I'm searching topics and I'll grab from a bunch, but I don't go to one specific news site. I kind of go to organizations that grab a bunch.
Yeah, because I bounce from place to place to place, and it's getting harder on the national news sites because they're so extreme.
They are so extreme.
My God. I'm right and you're wrong and you should die because you're wrong.
And I don't have anything against the Wall Street Journal. I grab articles from there, but I don't read it front to back. I don't read any news source front to back.
No, I don't either. You just look at the headlines, that kind of stuff. Like here's a good one. Wall Street Journal also. Stocks on track for the best month in over a year. That's really good news, correct?
Love that. Yeah. I know we have to go to a break, but at some point I think you're going to get a big kick out of one of the articles I put on Tom's News Stories about millennials being mad at their boomer parents for traveling too much and spending their money.
But it's not their money.
Oh, I know. That's why I thought you'd get a big kick out of it. Why do they think
it's their money?
Well, I want you to read the article. It's more of like, so
all right. Oh,
millennials are having kids later. You have to read the article.
I will definitely. I just found it, so we'll take a break and we'll come right back. Boomer parents traveling and millennials want help. Whatever that means, we'll find out right after this.
This is the Tom Barnard Show. Listen live on the Tom Barnard Show app or at tombernardshow.com.
Tom here, and I want to discuss a partnership that has been wonderful in my life. Zero Res Carpet Care. Very good friends of mine. Nothing is better to someone with a family than having a completely clean home. Your carpet is the biggest filter in your house. If you want to talk about pet dander or foot traffic, dirt from the outside, they all eventually reside in your carpet. So, Zero Res Carpet Care. Listen, around the holidays, you need to contact ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 952-ZEROREZ. That's 952-ZERO-RES. They clean your home with their electrolyzed pH-elevated water that doesn't use chemicals or soaps that smell like a janitor's closet like other cleaning services. How about a Tom Barnard deal? Well, here it is. Get 3 rooms, zero resified, starting at $129. And don't forget your air ducts. Mention me, and they'll discount your air vents by $75 too. This is for the entire month. So call them right now, 952-0-RES. Backward or forwarded, spells the same. Or book online, ZeroResMinnesota.com. If it's available, ask for them to come to your place in the Tom Barnard named service truck. What an honor that was, by the way. Just mention me by name and get the special deal to get your home clean and your heart happy. Zero Res Carpet.
Recently, Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC was contacted by a company that does on-site sales. Jim was confused.
Wait, they don't know anything about us, our staff, our reputation, most importantly, our customers.
Hey, pal, no problem. We do them all over the country. You know, get the manager off the roof sale, inflatable gorilla sale, and our favorite, the 13-hour sale with a giant clock that goes to 13. Urgency, baby. We bring our crew because, well, your people are, let's just say, a little laid back.
And the pricing?
Nothing special, sport.
But Jim thought, we price competitively every day. Our prices are special. We definitely don't need these guys. But sale does convey some urgency, so he made a bold decision for his fine dealerships.
Announcing the Valley Buick GMC 365-day sale. And we can even extend it a couple years or so.
I got the air dancer guy, scratch-offs, plastic keys, bubble machine.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley or Hastings, or valleycardealers.com. Hurry.
The Tom Barnard Show is proud to have partners like North American Banking Company, Bradshaw & Bryant, and attorney and advertiser Dave Bielke.
I've been advertising on Tom Barnard shows for years. I like Tom, not just because he's a good guy, but because the ads I run on his show bring me new clients that are hurt at work and need legal help. Tommy B works for me.
If you'd like to find out more about growing your business with the Tom Barnard Show, go to tombernardshow.com, keyword partner.
We are back. Andy now joins us. AJ headed out to his other duties.
Yep.
Okay, this is the story. This is from the Business Insider, by the way. Brittany sent this over. Boomers seem to have traded in the child-raising village for traveling. Now millennial parents say they have no one to support them. Well, who was supporting the boomers?
I would assume their parents.
But that was the greatest generation. They were too busy patting themselves on the back.
Oh, hey, watch
That's
yourself.
I know, you got that right. No, I mean, that was the greatest generation. That was a very tough follow-up, to tell you the truth, being a boomer myself, to follow what those people, people my parents' age, did to say, and they did save the world. There is no doubt about that. No question. So having to follow that up was not the easiest thing in the world, right?
Makes sense. That would be hard.
Do people understand that, though, that it was a very difficult situation?
I think there is that strife with every generation. I get told a lot that I'm lazy or this or that. And this article was interesting because I didn't think it necessarily took a side, but it was an interesting conversation that, because in our scenario, both me and Andy's parents do leave half the year. And I think your guys' generation had a better, it was a lot of times parents lived near their grandkids and were able to help out a lot more.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, obviously in my situation, that didn't hold much water because I didn't have a father around that whole time. So my mother had to work a lot more because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So therefore he wasn't there and she wasn't there either.
Yeah.
You know, she was there as much as she could be, but she had to work 10, 12-hour days every day,
Yeah.
Because diner waitresses didn't make a lot of money. Let me put it that way. There's no doubt about that. They probably still don't. Wonder they might. Millennials have put off having children, so boomers are the oldest grandparents ever. At the same time, boomers are outspending other generations on travel and dining out. Many millennial parents say they can't get the support they need from their parents. But I don't understand what are you talking about? Support them being around, support financially? What are they talking about?
I think it's being around, because that's like what I've heard from my friends, and like I would benefit mostly. Like in my mom, when she comes, she watches Go-Go constantly, and it is nice to have family. That's why I don't think I'd ever leave Minnesota. Is like I love that if something happens, I have Priscilla next door or my sister to watch the baby. And I think that is where things get a little harder, because we don't have that, like, hey, can you just watch her for an hour? Or hey, that doesn't exist as much because people move away to the warmer areas.
But I mean, and you can ask Andy this, I don't think there's a grandfather in the world that's closer to his grandchildren than I am.
Like you
I spend
watch
a
them.
lot of time. We spend a lot of time. No, not so much, but the family gets together all the time and we come and go. And I think, Andy, wouldn't you say our family is very, very close?
I'd say so.
Yeah, so I don't know why. And maybe that was the result of the fact that I didn't have my parents around much when I was a kid. I saw my grandparents maybe once or twice a year. That was about it. So that became very important to me to be around all the time. Maybe that's part of this whole deal. I don't know. I love having the kids over. Yeah. There's no question about it. Looking back on her childhood, Christiana Hilberg said that it was never a question whether her grandmother would watch her and her brother and their parents. Parents went on a trip, something like that. If mom and dad were out of town, we were at grandma's. A 33-year-old told Business Insider. See, my mother never traveled out of town, so that just never happened.
Yeah.
My mother didn't have any money. I mean, she's literally had no money at all. Grandma wasn't going anywhere, and we always knew that. But Hilberg, a mom of three, said there was no guarantee that her parents-in-laws or parents or in-laws would do the same for their grandchildren. Certainly not a snap of a finger like that. I don't know. I see this doesn't not talk about my family. Oh, Gelfand's here to make things even worse. I just noticed that.
I'm just here to cheer everyone up.
Well, it's about time, damn it. It's been drudgery.
Has it been tough?
It hasn't really been tough. No, let me get your take on this, Mike, because you and I are in the same generation here. You had some interesting family dynamics yourself. I did, all the rest of it. And basically, boomers, they're saying, are living better than ever. Do you think boomers are living better than ever right now?
No.
I don't either. So why? I mean, just the interest rates alone would tell you they're not living better than ever. So I don't know why they'd even write
article
that.
said though. It didn't
What's
say
that?
boomers are living
No.
better than ever.
They're just saying that
It says boomers are more likely to be traveling or living
Right.
away from family.
Whereas like your grandparents or in the past generations, they didn't like you just retired, you sat on your front porch, drank
Yep.
some lemonade and watched the
Exactly.
neighbor kids. Where now they're like people you hear it all the time, we have kids younger, or we have can't wait for the kids to move out so I can go, sell the house, get an RV and travel the country. So
Whose fantasy is this?
but,
But
I mean, there's a
also-
lot of people that want to travel like
Yeah, I mean, most people I know their parents, travel quite a bit more than their parents ever did. And then on top of it, there was a talk about how the economy's kind of making it where millennials are having kids later. So that means the grandparents are going to be older. So in like my in-laws, they're a lot older than my grandparents were, and so they don't feel very comfortable watching go-go for a day because that's exhausting. And so like a lot of it is just kind of age determined.
Right. And also, like in defense of the boomers, it's not your grandparents' responsibility to raise the kid that you decided to have.
No.
Like, they can go on vacation. Like, yes, obviously you help out and be around and things like that, but to be upset that they're going on vacation is wild.
No, I think it's more of like it's just different dynamics than, and we moved away from my grandparents at a young age, so we didn't have those dynamics. But I hear this a lot from my friends is that like the grandparents are not readily available just because they're traveling more and all that stuff.
Okay, well, let me say this. I got to get back to the very beginning of this. That was not a statement I made. That's the headline of the story is boomers are living better than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys both said, no, that's not what it means. That's the headline.
Right. But I think they're not like referencing like interest rate. They're just saying they're actually like living a life rather than retiring and just sitting in their house is what they're saying.
Right.
I
But
think-
you both said, no, they're not. That's not what it says. That's exactly what it says.
Okay.
So both of you, yeah,
I'm reading the headline and it doesn't say that.
The other thing
what headline
about-
are you reading?
The other thing about boomers, you got to talk about this in terms of
Yeah, that's true.
spirituality, because boomers also experience far more loss.
They do, yes.
And
to answer your question, Business Insiders, where that came from.
Boomers seem to have traded in the child-raising village for traveling. Now millennial parents say they have no one to support them.
I see what he's. It's a subheader about halfway down the article.
Yeah, exactly. But
That's
it's
what
the
it
headline.
does say that.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. So, I mean, that's why I wanted to read the article and make it clear what they were talking about. But you guys, of course, had to trample Uncle Tommy. Don't worry about my feelings. It'll be all right.
Well, the thing about these articles, they're always searching for trends,
Do you guys not agree that, like, Tom, you're living a better life than your grandparents?
Well, yeah, but you have to understand something. My family was destitute.
Right.
Same.
But you're living better than ever as compared to like your grandparents.
Well,
if I had gotten a job for $1.50 an hour, I'd be living better than my grandparents.
Yeah, I mean, the boomers' grandparents very typically weren't born in this country.
No. Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, I have my 4 grandparents. There was one born in this country, which was unusual,
Mm-hmm, it was.
And,
yeah, absolutely.
and these people came here without the expectation of ever having a day off, without the expectation of ever having money to spend.
So it does hold true, is what you're saying. That sentence does hold true.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm not even getting involved in that. but
Yeah,
I'm
let's
saying,
not get involved.
here's what I know is what I'm saying. It's very complicated.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, here's what this generation is doing, here's what this generation is doing. We'll probably know more about what they're doing, 50 years from now than we do now.
I hope I love that my mom goes to Florida half the year and has an amazing life. I love that my mom travels. I love that I can't just rely that she's at the house sitting there waiting for me to drop my kid off. I actually love that my mom has a very full life because I go, that's the life I'm going to live when I'm older.
Right.
So I hope you know that. Like, I think most millennials would agree at the end of the day, it's more positive than it is negative to say, like, yeah, they're just not as available to help. But I would rather have her living her life and me looking for, childcare than have it reversed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, once again, it's an article that's written, and Andy, you're my son, so you would know this. Talking about millennials can't depend on their parents. Many millennial parents say they can't get the support they need from their parents. It depends on it's not all millennials against all boomers.
No.
Because in our family, we go across several generations of helping one another out. Wouldn't you agree, Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the article that they would have to write to go over everybody's individual living situation is much longer than just.
Well, I understand that, but why write the article in the first place?
Because they're just noticing a trend.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, but
averages apply to the average person.
And Tom,
it doesn't exist.
I didn't have kids in my 20s because I wasn't in a situation financially and emotionally to do that, and I now can afford daycare and not worry and guilt random people in my life to watch my kid. But that's because I had to wait, and that's okay. It's totally fine. I mean,
I waited. We had our children when I was in our 30s as well. I could have had children in my early 20s that I was lucky enough to be doing well and all the rest of it. But I put it off till my 30s because I'll be honest with you. I even knew when I was 25 years old, I was not mature enough to be a father.
Same.
I knew that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the problem. People just pay no attention when they're having sex with everybody comes near them that, hey, maybe a kid will come about because of this. They never even think about that, huh?
I don't think people even realize until you have kids the extent of this world is not meant for kids out in the world. It's just not. It's not an environment where people are excited to see kids in their store or in their houses. It's just not a kid-friendly world. That are the environment for the most part. And so I think that is an overwhelming feeling. And then that's when you go, I wish my parents were around more. And not because I wish my mom lived any different. I'm so happy she lives the way she lives. But if I could have both ways, my mom being right next door and her living her exact best life, I would. I would love more help. But at the same time, I would rather have this.
See, and the one thing that I will tell you is in my life was totally different. And therefore, my connection with the greatest generation was wonderful because when my father was taken off, put in the nut house, and my mother was working 10, 12 hours a day, other parents in the neighborhood stepped up and said, Tommy, you ever need anything, don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. You can come and live over here if you want to. I lived at the Fisher's house for a while. All of these families, the O'Briens, the Lorentz, you go down all of these different people. The Fisher family was incredible to me. So I didn't experience any of that. Even though I didn't have a mother and father around, my mother was around, half the day, but the other half she was not. Other people did step up and take care of me. Now, would they do that now? I highly doubt it because there'd be some legal problems.
I was just going to say, yeah,
probably would be.
Yeah, you're right. And also, Tom,
I think experienced the same thing though, Tom.
What's that?
I experienced the same thing. I had friends, mothers who would help me out, who would take care of me,
Wonderful.
And because, my mother was never far away, but I would have had to wake her up.
Aren't you guys? Sometimes I think about this. I am so lucky. And my mom was great, but she was a single mom, a teacher. She wasn't around all the time. We are all so lucky that there was no predator in our life because you would have given me a pack of Gushers. I'd have been in your house so quick.
Had to be Gushers.
Yeah. Oh, my mom couldn't buy us Gushers. So there's just I'm very thankful as well for the people in my neighborhood. I mean, my sister watched us a lot, but we were I was very vulnerable to, and like Tom said, people don't want people in their houses because it could look weird or whatever now. And I don't know if it would happen the same.
Yeah, I think the mothers of my friends sort of, they talk, and I think the way they looked at it with me it's going to take a village to raise this son of a bitch.
Well, I think that's very accurate too, by the way. Yeah. And I should mention that that some of the people Mike talking about grew up in the same neighborhood that I did. So
Yeah.
maybe it was a neighborhood thing. Because once again,
absolutely.
when I look back at people like, oh my God, Jews and blacks and Catholics all together, we got along phenomenally, incredibly well. So I don't know when all of these problems developed, but they didn't develop. But whose neighbor got burned to the ground in 1967, 68? That would have been North Minneapolis, burned Plymouth Avenue to the ground.
Yeah.
And that's really unfortunate.
Well, the thing is that when my mother was going to North High School, for example, I think that black kids and Jewish kids found some commonality there.
Absolutely.
They were both oppressed, of course,
And Catholics.
and Catholics too, right?
Yep.
And later on, there was the Jews started moving out of the north side, of course, in about 1950 or so.
Yeah, probably mid 50s.
Yeah, I think that a lot of them, of course, went to Highland Park or St. Louis Park. Some of them went to Golden Valley. They went wherever they could because redlining kept them out of the really the proper neighborhoods. But I think that there was a concept then that the Jews no longer fit into that group, that they had risen above that economically. And then
Well, they did economically, yeah.
when that happens, you've got a lot of tension and terrible things happen.
It does. And I've told this story before. There was a neighbor in our neighborhood who would not let Catholic kids walk on his sidewalk. You had to walk in the street when you went past his house, or he'd have a fit.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I had friends whose parents wouldn't let me in their house.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I wish that people would understand. I mean, some situations are much more severe than others, obviously, but people are a hell of a lot nicer now than they used to be. And if that's a situation where if we're going to point fingers, we should also give credit, because boomers ended a lot of that bullshit going on. A lot. You wouldn't believe the world back 60, 65 years ago. It was completely different, Mike. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and I think a lot of the stress there was, it might have been about religious, it might have been about economics, but people still kind of found a way. Now the biggest thing that cleaves people, that just tears people apart from each other, is probably political.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt about that. Look, I mean, it used to be fun like I said, I grew up, so I get to know Mike Gelfand, right? He does a story. You were writing for what at the time when you interviewed me?
Minneapolis Tribune.
It was a Tribune. Okay.
Well, actually, no, it was Ad Age.
It was Ad Age. That's exactly what it was. It was Ad Age. So Mike and I became friends. But back in those days, he would invite me over to the JCC, the Jewish Community Center, and we'd go into the gym. And I always got this great laugh out of it. And I always said to Mike, is it really necessary in a basketball gym to put a sign up that says no dunking? I mean, really?
Yeah. We didn't try to posterize each other either, by the way.
No, that's exactly one of my favorite times.
We didn't have the possibility of being in the ESPN top 10 of the night, So what happened there, of course, was, they had, I played in the rec leagues there, where there were a lot of Jews, but it was more than that. But there were a lot of Jewish guys there, and so I often found myself guarding a guy who was maybe a little bit shorter than me, right? Because they were there, they were my brethren, and I could guard a guy who was 5'6" and bald, and that made me feel much better. But they had what they had there was they had other leagues basically for people who didn't have much connection to the Jewish Community Center, but there were good leagues there. So you had like former Gopher players, and
absolutely.
But the thing is, if these guys could dunk, a little sign was not going to stop them.
No, it was not going to stop them. I guess what I'm trying to get to here is that the media loves to do this kind of thing, but when you look back, the greatest generation, then the generation before that, most of them were immigrants in the neighborhoods we're talking about. And the greatest generation came along. That generation busted their ass working I'm talking about before the Greatest Generation,
Yeah.
busted their ass to make sure their kids had everything they would need, like food to eat and all the rest of it. So God bless them. The Greatest Generation came along and saved the world. There's no doubt about that. So God bless them too. The boomers are the same situation. We handled it the best way we possibly could. I don't have any problem with your generation, mine, or the two previous generations. I just don't have any problems. I go by the individual, not their generation.
Oh yeah, and the idea that for example that boomers are gonna just be horrified by millennials. There's people want to see these cultures clash. Makes for good stories. And the idea that boomers say, "Oh, these millennials, they don't know how to work." They don't. Blah, blah. I don't understand that at all. Most of my friends are boomers, and some of them are members of the Greatest Generation, and some of them are millennials. But most of them are boomers, and I would say very few of them ever trash millennials. Probably because the millennials are their kids, and we don't really like to trash our kids.
Yeah.
Right. And if you trash all the millennials, who are you gonna who are you gonna call when you can't get your internet or your computer to respond on your text? Yeah.
What the hell are you talking about?
Max, can you come over? And then there's a sigh.
Yep.
There's one guy named Andy, but your mother's pretty good at that stuff too, Andy. You got to admit.
She's getting better.
He cannot say she's good at it. She's getting better. And me, you don't want me anywhere near that stuff.
We try really to just prevent you from touching anything.
Oh, yeah. You don't want me around any of that
But
stuff.
like, that's understandable too. Like, I think it's weird when millennials make fun of older people for not knowing technology, because it's like, that's going to be us when things advance and we're not having our fingers on the pulse. And also, like, of course, if all these things that have changed, I don't get it. And I think, Gelfan, you're right. I don't think it actually happens in real life. Nobody hates a generation of people. Like,
I wouldn't think so.
they're your uncles, they're your mom, they're your grandpa. Like, I would never say the things that, like, and again, I look at my mom and I go, my life is just going to get better. I love how busy she is. I love how much she travels, and she's got more energy than all of us. And I just go, it's cool to see, because I just know that's her and I are so similar. I'm like, that's how I'm going to be, and that gives me so much excitement and hope for the future.
See, your mother and I get along very, very well because she's a decent person and you're not. That's what I'm saying.
Can both agree on that.
We're gonna both agree on that kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, I don't know. It's a situation where I don't focus a lot on what's wrong with you.
No.
And I'm not talking about you as a person.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, as a whole. Yeah.
As a whole. I don't want to waste my time. Here's what's wrong with you. It's like, if there's something wrong with you, I don't want to be around you, so I would just avoid you.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to sit and tell you, oh, you're terrible. It's like, no, relax.
I also like, it's funny because, the categories you guys are putting in on people, not saying you guys, but like that are put on people. I grew up in Stillwater. My mom didn't have very much money. I don't think I knew anyone's religion, political views.
Yeah, right.
I just didn't.
Right.
That's how I grew up. I kind of still live by that. I don't need to know where you fall on this, that, and the other. And not because I don't care, because it just doesn't apply to our friendship. Most of my interactions don't. I don't need to know some of the things that people are dividing up into. It just doesn't matter to me.
No question about it. So, and I suppose maybe they sell magazines or, well, not newspapers, because nobody reads a newspaper anymore. Everything's online. But I guess maybe that they say these kind of things to drive people to view their stories so they can make more money. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What could be?
I mean, seriously, I look back at the world, and even though it's tough as hell and all the rest of it, and there are certain people in Minnesota would love to destroy my career. They've tried and tried and tried to do it. I don't really give a rat's ass what they do. I don't know them. You go be you and you piss off whoever you want. I'm sorry, you must have failed miserably at what you do, because if you were successful, you'd be paying attention to what you're doing, not what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're talking about your sidekicks, right?
Yes, all for you, damn it.
The ones who tried to destroy you.
Take you down.
No question. Take it down. All right. So, oh God, we should probably go to break here. I would think probably be a good idea. We'll take a break. Be right back in a couple minutes. More news, and of course, coming up, we got a little Kristen Bird action. We got a lot of stuff coming up right after this.
This is the Tom Barnard Show. Listen live at TomBarnardShow.com or on the Tom Barnard Show app.
Hello, I'm Brad Huckle, President and Chief Lending Officer at North American Banking Company.
And I'm Michael Bilski, CEO at North American Banking Company.
As a locally owned and operated community bank, we work with many multi-generational businesses.
Take Personal Care Dentistry of Roseville, for example. Dr. Walter Hunt, also known as Painless to me, has been a longtime customer of the bank since we opened the bank in 1998.
When his son Kyle was ready to join the practice, they wanted to expand quickly.
With their additional space and equipment, they now are able to see more patients each day while providing the same level of care and service.
Okay, guys, I'll take it from here. If you run a family business or any kind of business for that matter, you should be banking with Brad and Mike over at North American Banking Company. Every time I deal with them or their team, I know I'm working with experienced professional bankers. So why not bank with my banker? North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Before you head back to one of the big box stores for your hunting and shooting needs this season, do yourself a favor and visit my choice, K&L Surplus and Ammo in Lino Lakes. Not only does K&L have one of the widest selections of firearms and ammo in the Twin Cities, they also do business the right way. They want to make sure that you have the right firearm and the right ammo for your needs. Jim, the owner, has over 25 years of experience in the business and will help you find what you need at a fair price. Speaking of prices, a lot of stores are using inflation and supply shortages as an excuse to raise prices on ammunition. Not K&L. Jim's doing everything to hold the line on pricing so you can spend more time on the range. Find out for yourself why K&L Surplus and Ammo has been the choice of gun owners for over 25 years. Go in and chat with Jim in person at the store on Lake Drive in Lino Lakes or online at klgunstore.com. klgunstore.com.
The new Tom Barnard Show is proud to have partners like Bradshaw and Bryant, MyPillow, and North American Banking Company founder, chairman, and president, Mike Bilski.
I've advertised on Tom's show for years, and the reason is simple. My business is recognized because of the ads, and that recognition has created growth. What business doesn't want to grow? I highly recommend the Tom Barnard Morning Show for your advertising.
Grow results for your business by partnering with the Tom Barnard Show. Visit TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner.
So I just noticed something here, and Chris and Bert joined us now, ladies and gentlemen, so I'll get through this really quickly because I don't know what they mean by this. Today's your last chance to save your old Google accounts before they get deleted. What Google accounts?
Like, you create a Gmail. If you don't use it and it's inactive, I assume they're going through and purging out all the unused ones because they need more.
Oh,
It might be a scam, though, Tom. Don't.
No,
click
it's
on-
real.
Oh, is that real? Okay.
Yeah, Google's doing a purge of accounts that haven't been used in so long. But
Okay.
it's like if there's been no activity on that account, I think if you've even logged into it, that still counts as activity.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
for accounts that are like truly, you haven't even looked at them in like 3 years or something like that.
Oh, good, because I'm glad I asked that because I use Gmail quite a bit. Like on this show, I use Gmail a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so that's going to be fine, though.
No, if you go on a long vacation, they're not just going to delete your account.
Okay.
I need my junk mail Gmail to stick around. It's where I send all the junk mail.
Exactly. No question about it. So what's going on, Kristen Burt?
I need to put a little button on our Adam Sandler conversation. I feel like we've had like little snippets every single day.
Mhm.
Yesterday on Drew Barrymore's show, she got asked the question, what would it take for you to go back to the big screen and start acting again? Because she's been doing her daytime show.
Right.
She said Adam Sandler. And she said, and she has already talked to Adam Sandler and said that the discussion she had is that she must star in a movie with Jennifer Aniston, who's the other person who he stars with all the time. And
Mhm.
reportedly, all three of them are working on a film together at some
Ooh.
point. It's like in discussion. There's nothing announced, but she said there's definitely talks. So if everyone's wondering if Adam Sandler's a good guy, there's the wrap up of our entire
Yeah.
conversation all week. He's a good guy. People want to work with him. And that is someone who will actually get Drew Barrymore to go back to acting.
That's
I thought you said he was a good guy.
Oh,
we love Drew. Don't do that.
I just can't stand to watch her talk out of the side of her mouth. It's just like it's just all.
He does do that
it's
quite a
always-
bit.
Well,
Yeah.
no, she talked to that deal. I
Is-
never
is-
noticed that.
So is that because of some medical defect, or is that just sort of a? I don't know.
I think she's being quirky.
Yeah,
It's just I was going to say it's just a quirk, and she's talked about it. She's like, I didn't even know I did it until people started. Who was doing? Britt, you might know who was doing her impersonation on SNL.
Oh, I forget. I think they've had a couple people, but yeah.
Yeah, there was someone who did it quite a bit for a while, and I can't remember who off the top of my head, but they were the ones who started doing like the talk out of the side of her mouth, and she said that's when she really found out that she does that.
Was it Kirsten Wig? Was that
Well-
the?
Also, if like with Drew Barrymore, I also will be returning to the big screen only if Adam Sandler calls me to star with Jennifer Aniston. So I'll just throw that out there as well.
We've put it out to the universe. I don't know. I feel like we manifest things every single morning and things come true like a couple days later. So you just never know. Stand by the phone, Tevin.
I'm gonna sit because it might take a while.
It might take a while, but you never know.
So, I mean, can she do film and do her? Because it's a daily TV show, isn't it?
It is, but they take the summers off. So
Oh, they do?
potentially,
Okay. All
yeah,
right.
she could work from, let's just say, late May to August on a film and then go back to production. So it would it's definitely doable. And the fact that she said that they're already in discussion of her, like trying to figure out what that concept would look like with the three of them. And of
Mhm.
course, to go to Netflix, I just think that would be huge. It would be huge for Netflix. It would be huge for all three of them. This would generate a ton of views and a ton of headlines.
No, those talk shows are nowhere as big as they used to be because they used to be huge. Like Dr. Phil's still on, and I didn't even know it.
He's
I
in his
haven't-
last year.
Oh, is he in the last year? Because I didn't even know he was still on.
Thank God.
Oprah's gone, right?
Oprah's gone. My goodness, Maury even retired. I'm trying to remember. He was on forever. I'm trying to think who else. I mean, it's basically now the landscape is like Tamron Hall, it's Drew Barrymore, it's Jennifer Hudson, it's Kelly Clarkson, and Kelly and Drew seem to be the ones who have really sort of broken out of the pack. And then you have like the View and the Talk, those kind of more
Yeah.
panel type of shows.
But they're not doing. None of them do well, do they?
Actually, CBS Daytime is very strong. CBS Daytime lineup, which is The Talk, it's Young and the Restless and Bold and the Beautiful, and then Price is Right and Let's Make a Deal. Super strong lineup, honestly.
So, but not talk shows. There's one talk show in there.
There's one talk show in there. Kelly Clarkson is kind of like she earned the Ellen DeGeneres spot, which was the Oprah Winfrey spot.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she's the leader of the pack in terms of those.
I don't
celebrity
mind these shows, but I don't want them messing with my stories.
Yeah, I understand.
What's your story? Are you a Days of Our Lives guy?
Yeah, that kind of thing. You know, the young and the restless, and then there's the political side, the old and the worthless.
Well,
that also is a very old reference because grandmothers used to always say, "Be quiet, I'm watching my
Right.
stories."
Right. Yeah.
That's
I never
what
actually
they said.
heard anyone say it, but I think it's funny.
I did.
I did too. I had a daycare lady who always watched These Are the Days of Our Lives. We'd have to go take a nap then, and I'd always like peek over and get in big trouble. She's like, "Get out of here. I'm watching my stories."
And by the way, those shows were huge back in the day, like going all the way back to Fred
Oh,
Sanford.
Sure were.
Well, sure,
Okay.
and they were actually huge when they were on the radio before that.
They were huge then.
Yeah.
I still
Remember-
get the opportunity to interview daytime stars, and the ones I love interviewing the ones who were on during the heyday. And the heyday really was like the 70s and the 80s when the budgets were ridiculous. They were
Mhm.
wearing designer clothes like you would see on Dynasty in Dallas back in those days. But they were allowed to travel on location. They weren't, shooting in these small little studios. Everything was about Luke and Laura on General Hospital. And there were award shows. There were like 4 award shows just for soaps alone, and they would have it at Radio City Music Hall. It's just interesting to watch sort of the decline of it all. And this year the daytime Emmys are at the Westin Hotel in downtown LA. I'm like, oh my gosh, how far we have fallen from Radio City.
Oh, really? So nobody cares anymore.
It is going to air on CBS, which is great, and Paramount Plus will also carry it, which is good because for a few years they just had to stream it online on their YouTube channel. So at least they do have some type of visibility, but it's just not what it was. And as we've talked about a lot, and I don't think Britt will disagree with me on all of this, but reality shows and Bravo TV are the new soaps.
I suppose, yeah, that does make sense.
So now that the Golden Bachelor has been revealed to be a fraud, where do we go from there? I'm just shocked by this.
I am not shocked at all, but at the same time, I love that Hollywood Reporter, if anyone's looking to see where the article is, they dropped it yesterday just in time for the finale. So this was very calculated in terms of dropping all this information, that he had a girlfriend for 3 years, because I think he's been claiming, like, I haven't dated. This is, you know,
Oh, really?
after my wife died. And it turns out he started dating this woman a month after his wife passed, allegedly. 'Cause he
Allegedly,
hasn't
yes.
shared his side of the story, but he didn't sound like a fun person to date either.
Not really. And what about the weeping? Is that
yeah, that needs to get
he's
addressed.
pretty good at that, though. You know, you
cries
can
a
almost
lot.
believe it.
He's the most dramatic Tom. Like, you know how like we always think like 13-year-old girls are dramatic or whatever. 70-year-old men who are searching for their love of their life are the most dramatic people. Do you know what he said on air? He said, this is the worst. This is the second worst experience in my life. Second to only my wife dying when he had to pick between two girls.
Like, sir, you signed up for a show where you're gonna be breaking somebody's heart. Why are you surprised at this now? All of a sudden?
I was so offended for his ex-wife, Tony, rest in peace. I was like, that's insane.
Well, my friend Neil Carlin watches the show religiously just because it's so campy and obviously fraudulent. And he refers to it as the Golden Shower Bachelor. So I think that probably is fairly appropriate.
Probably sums it up. I mean, I love that also in this Hollywood Reporter article, it talked a lot about, you know, he's been presented as a restaurateur, and they're like, he was a maintenance man at like a retirement home. Nothing wrong with any of these jobs, but he's been presented as like a restaurateur, which in my head, when you say restaurateur, I think you have several restaurants, you're heavily invested, you've got some money. And he was installing hot tubs at a certain point. Like he was doing, you know, real blue collar work. Again, nothing wrong with it, but it's the story that has unfolded on The Golden Bachelor is completely different than what the reality seems to be.
Yeah, if you're a fry cook at the original Pancake House, that's probably doesn't qualify you as a restaurateur.
It's not as sexy. I mean, I think it was more of a fast food restaurant too. So
Yeah,
again,
probably
I love
Wendy's,
fast
yeah.
food, nothing wrong with it. But again, the way they spin these stories is wild.
But why would you ever watch that crap? I've never seen 1 minute of it. I couldn't care less.
It's hilarious.
Is it really funny?
It's campy. It's just
entertaining.
campy. Because
Oh,
you
yeah.
know when you watch it, you know that first you know that everything is a fraud.
It's all a fraud. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And this one may be a little more fraudulent than others. So
I think it's also important just to say that a lot of these dating shows cater toward, right now it would be Gen Z. I mean, prior to that, it was millennials. But I think that the fact that ABC was like, let's do a Golden Bachelor, it's sort of like conquered ageism, which is like, you know, the new thing to kind of discuss. And I thought it was a great concept. Like, you know what? People in their 70s, because a lot of people may have lost a spouse or they're divorced, like you can still have a dating life. You can still have a sex life. That's actually a great message because people think, oh my God, you're 40 and you're old and you're washed up. That's not it. But, this is a huge but, you know, when it's reality, they're crafting a story around you and they're going to, you know, exaggerate things, make you look better than you actually are. And, you know, you're saying you're willing to put that out to millions of people. So that also talks about your character a little bit. Because I'd be pushing back on that.
Well, but it's all lies anyway, isn't it? Or mostly lies.
I don't really know a lot of, I know a lot of people in their 70s, and most of them are not real active when it comes to dating. You know,
No.
it's like
My mom was. My mom found her boyfriend, Mike. They were both on dating apps and found each other. So it definitely can happen. I just think it's what people are looking for. And
yeah.
And in the case of the Golden Bachelor, we understand that the show it's a reality show. It's going to be, fake elements to it, but at least hide it a little bit better. Like you can't call this guy some, like a restaurateur, and like you guys are saying, with having him be a fry cook, because then now you're just misleading the contestants from the jump.
Yeah, the truth always comes to light in situations like that. But that is very easy to fact check too. That's the other thing. And you see it in the Hollywood Reporter article saying like, we saw the texts, or like we went and checked with his former employer and confirmed that he worked as a hot tub installer. Like,
Oh, okay. Well, then
they
that's
did
good.
their due diligence on this.
Yeah. Hot tub installer.
You guys know the percentage of actual successful marriages? By successful, I mean according to the term of the marriage. I don't mean that even if you were married to somebody for 5 years, it was okay for a while. It was successful for a while. So by successful, I should clarify that I'm talking about long-term success. Is it really that rare now?
Are you talking about directly from The Bachelor or just in general?
No, I'm talking about in life in general. Why would people be so interested in this show? Because, I mean, if you're in a good long-term relationship yourself, why would you even care about that stuff?
I think it's the fantasy of it all, I think people are interested in other people's dating lives, other people's sex lives, the drama of it, and to me, I stopped watching it years ago because the misogyny drives me a little bit bananas with it, especially when it comes to when it's the Bachelor series of like 25 women fighting over a guy. I just feel like a lot of weird stereotypes come out, but you can pull yourself out of it and just realize like some of these people are just chasing fame too. There's that element of it.
Yeah, and it's kind of pathetic too when you see a woman who, after 2 days, it seems like they can't all be great actors. It seems like like they convince themselves after 48 hours that they're in love with some guy, and then oh my God, he's not the one, and that's the part. I watch this and I just wind up really sort of feeling bad for these persons.
Well, yeah, and it's like the opposite of actually dating somebody in real life.
Yeah,
like most of the time
Yeah,
you meet
it's
somebody for the first time, you're not going, oh my gosh, this person's going to be amazing. This is going to be you're like, let me figure out what's wrong with this guy. Like maybe be cautious. Whereas you can go on the show, you just kind of dive in, and then afterwards, that's where all of kind of, the red flags appear, and that's why they don't really work out.
Tom, I would be terrible on this show because it'd be like, okay, are you going to make it to the final one? I'd be like, I'm on the fence about him. I don't know.
Right.
I'm still trying to figure out if like Justin's who I want to be with, and we've been married for 5 years. So I don't know.
I have no poker face. I the one thing I think I would be good on a reality show is the confessionals, because I'd be like, I can't stand this person, and I can't like, and I just, if they'd be like, are you having a good time? I'd be like, no.
Also, they do this thing, Tom, where they go on a date, and this is like a Bachelor staple. They order a meal, and they both get a meal, and they don't touch it while they're filming, so they can only eat it after. And I would not be able to have a conversation if there was like a full steak in front of me that I haven't eaten yet. I'd just be like constantly staring at it. I'd be like, can I just like, I would not. I have a mental breakdown right there.
I've seen you with a big sandwich in front of you.
Yeah,
eating on camera though is a weird thing.
I would have no problem with
hang-ups? I have hang-ups about it. I'm always like, I would my teeth.
I would 100% have hang-ups.
I wouldn't. If you guys told me I could eat during this podcast, I would. Like,
you can. I don't care. You can eat all you want.
Done.
ASMR. I love it.
The thing about dating, though, real dating is some people. I mean, I've dated. Everyone's dated, and there are some people who come in with an objective. I want to get married. But most of the time, it's just people who want to find someone to hang out with, maybe have casual sex and never see each other again. That's real dating. But I guess that wouldn't make for a good show.
No, it doesn't. They want the drama of, and I think the other thing too, just in thinking of The Bachelor, and I've had plenty of friends that have gone on The Bachelor and other reality shows. Remember, you're in a bubble. So they take away all sorts of communication, your phone, you have no TV, you have no connection to the outside world. So you're in this like love bubble. So I think in your head too, you start like creating these fantasies of like, this guy could be the one, and we're going to like run off and get married and have babies. And it makes you very emotional. A friend of mine who was like never a crier went on this like Date My Dad reality show years ago. And she's like, they had me crying because they would keep her up late at night. They were serving meals at weird times. And she's like, I was such a wreck.
Yeah, I'd cry.
Yeah, it's a cult sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just when we were here talking earlier this week about Squid Game's The Challenge, and you know how some people were suing because they were upset. I'm like, you need to go in with your eyes wide open on reality shows because they are going to manipulate and control the situation to get you to be as emotional, angry, happy, whatever it is. They want good TV because that's their job as TV producers.
Yeah, I know they did that to me when I was on Wheel of Fortune.
What did Pat Sajak do to you?
From top to bottom.
Actually, the worst part about it was you having to sit through all the other shows until you know. So like I had to get there like at 8 a.m, like which is like 4 hours before I like to get up, and then I had to sit through 4 other shows. So by the time my show was on, like at 8 p.m, I'm totally exhausted. I just wanted to get over with at that point.
Yeah, you're not excited about it. That's the problem when you're at the last taping of the night.
Yeah, the adrenaline's gone by then. I had, as far as Pat goes, had a great conversation with him about baseball. Fortunately, we did not discuss politics.
You guys would have had an all-out brawl over the
Would have
wheel.
been bad. Yeah, I think it would have been ugly. Yeah, but I enjoyed talking to him. And he seemed, but now of course he's kind of fallen off the edge. So.
Well, he is retiring at the end of the season, and it'll be Ryan Seacrest moving forward. So,
Can't they do better than that?
I would think so. I thought that they would go for someone fresh. I thought, like, originally I thought maybe they would have Vanna do it, but Vanna's not, like, she doesn't want to host. And then I thought maybe they're going to bring in his daughter because Maggie Sajak has been their social media correspondent. But it seems like what they're doing is Vanna's only staying for a little bit. And I think when Vanna retires, Maggie Sajak will wind up being the new Vanna.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. Yeah. She'll probably do very well.
Nepo baby,
Yeah.
Your dad created a job for you, and then they'll just slide you into Vanna's role when she's done.
Yeah, she'll be great.
Wow, look at the silence, you guys. What's going on?
I'm just waiting. I haven't talked for 12 minutes now. I was looking at the clock. I'm on my own show and I can't talk for 12 minutes. That's what works for me.
Can I tell you guys something though?
What's that?
Oh, I want to tell you guys something because it just kind of like broke before we came on the air, and I was thinking about this. I was wondering like how long it was going to take for them to do a Donald Trump movie. Well, guess what?
Oh,
Donald Trump movie is coming.
Yawn.
Who's going to be the
And they're
star?
calling it The Apprentice.
Oh.
But it's not about that era of his reality TV show, since we're talking reality TV shows. It's actually going to be about his rise as a real estate scion in New York City. So it's like his younger self.
Mhm.
And I think that they're really kind of aiming for like a prestige type of project because like Jeremy Strong is in it. Sebastian Stan is going to play the younger Donald Trump. And if you're like, who is Sebastian Stan? If you saw Pammy and Tom, or Tom and Pammy on Hulu, he played Pamela Anderson's boyfriend. Was Tommy Lee?
Oh, Jones?
No, Tommy Lee.
Just Tommy Lee. There's no
which one
Jones
is-
involved here.
Who is
Pamela
Tommy Lee
Anderson.
Jones? That sounds phenomenal. That sounds.
Tommy Lee Jones is the actor.
He was
Wait,
in
no.
Men in Black, for example.
Oh, that guy. Okay. I understand. So, I mean, as far as television people give a rat's ass about, is there anything good coming on? I tell you, Catherine is really, really good at finding shows that are enjoyable. She goes through and finds something. Hey, why don't we try to watch this? She found all these great shows, and I don't know how she does it. She's very good at that. whole
Hunts like all of the best Canadian shows for you.
She does. She looks at all the Canadian shows, which I do tend to like Canadian television. That is very, very true. But, and by the way, we're talking about I believe the 5th season it is of Fargo, because we hadn't seen it yet. There's now a 6th season, right?
5th. This is the 5th season, I believe.
Oh, we had that argument early this morning. We thought it was 6 and 5. We thought this was 6, but it's only 5.
I think this is the 5th season with John Hamm.
With John Hamm.
Yeah, we
thought it
just
was-
looked this up.
I thought it was the 6th season. You said.
No,
I don't
you're
remember.
watching- you said you were watching the 5th season, right?
We assumed that's what I assumed, though. But so I don't know how it
The
all
one that
lines
just came
up.
out, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's with season 5. Yeah, it's season 5.
Okay, so
One's
season 4.
currently out with John Hamm as season 5. I was like, I know we've
Okay,
been
so
talking about it.
it was season 4 that Catherine and I started with because we hadn't seen that season either. Busy doing other things. That show, and it's the Coen brothers from Minnesota, so I understand there's personal preference there and all the rest. I don't know the Coen brothers, but I really like their work. They were invited on the show one time, but canceled after they found out that I didn't agree with everything they thought. So remember that, Galfano? They were supposed to be on the show and they canceled.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Everybody's politics.
They run into people who don't agree with them every single day. So
I would think so. You're absolutely right. But honest to God, that series Fargo is extreme. Were there some down years? There might have been because we didn't stick with the whole thing. But season 4, a couple episodes in, is phenomenal. And I do want to watch season 5 because I've heard that's one of the best seasons ever now.
Yeah, it's considered, which is amazing too, because remember, we're in the 5th season. Usually you start seeing the decline in the quality of the show. But when they said John Hamm, I'm like, say no more.
Is
That's
this a
all I need.
Netflix show? Is it Netflix?
Yes, it's Netflix. Yep.
I love John Hamm.
Netflix just kicked me to the sidewalk,
What did they do?
Well, because I used to be able to share my son's.
Oh, that's right.
And now I can't do it anymore.
Disney Plus is cracking down on that in December.
Yep.
Just a warning to everybody. So
They've
if you are
already
sharing
started.
passwords,
Yeah, because I can't do it anymore.
Oh, you can't on Disney Plus?
No, well, it's just I can't. They just can't use my son's, username.
Yeah,
So-
I'm waiting because we do a password sharing on Paramount Plus, and I'm like, that's gonna happen. That's gonna go away soon because they're all just cracking down on it. They want the subscriptions.
Indeed.
They give you a taste, and they get you addicted, and then they want money for it.
Mm-hmm. You start with the good stuff.
Well, I guess any business model that is basically the same thing as the model that drug dealers use is probably going to be successful.
Yeah, they make a lot
Well,
of money.
hopefully all of you took advantage of those Black Friday deals over the next year because there were some really good pricing over the subscriptions for all of the streamers. And if you're smart, you used a new email and then you got a Black Friday deal for the year.
I didn't even know about them.
We talked about it on the show. Were you not here? Maybe
I don't
you were
think
out
I
that
was-
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have special deals coming up? Is that what we're talking about? Or they already
No,
have?
they were on Black Friday. They lasted Black Friday, I think, through Cyber Monday. Like Hulu was 99 cents a month this was the ad-based plan, just so people understand, but 99 cents over 12 months. I think Peacock was $1.99 per month for the next 12 months, or pay for the year in full. It was only $20. And if you're clever, you cancel the current subscription you have and take another email and sign up for that Black Friday deal.
Yeah,
And that's how you get the deals each year.
Is it true some of these deals now are for like $1,200 a year? What? $100 a month?
What is $100 a month?
Some of these subscriptions I just looked at, one was $89.99 a month.
That has to be with
God.
live television.
Right,
These are just like
Hulu with live
singular
television.
subscriptions.
Yeah, if you get Hulu with live TV and no ads, or if you get I think it's like Vudu or something like that, anything with live TV is going to be like $100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I avoid all those plans. I just do the bare minimum
Yeah.
to keep it down because there's just no point in having the full subscriptions unless you need that live TV element.
See, what happens with me is I look and I say, oh, look, there's a channel. Let's get that. So I don't know I have no idea how much our cable bill is. Not a clue. Or
I am
it's not
so curious.
cable
I need
info.
someone to do like an audit of all of your cable bills because I know that you also purchase a lot of movies. And I'm like, I'm dying to know how much in a month you spend on your entertainment.
It's probably not cheap, I would say. You're right about that. But most of it, I don't know. Streaming television is a lot better than live television now, in my opinion anyway. Streaming television is really, really good, don't you think?
Well, for sure. And I mean, the ratings also, are evidence that that's exactly what's happening. Broadcast is hanging on by a fingernail or two. Of course, there's a couple good shows on each of the networks that are standouts,
Sure.
but overall, even if you look at what happens at Emmy season and what is sort of rising to the top, and it's starting to creep into film, and it's why a lot of filmmakers don't love that Apple TV and Netflix have all this money to throw at marketing campaigns to win that Oscar. And even if you say like, well, I don't watch the award shows and the award shows don't matter, they do matter in the end when it comes down to dollars at the box office, advertising dollars, all of those things. You know, it's a full circle situation. So winning an Oscar means more money at the box office and more money in everyone's pocket.
I have bad news for Andy.
Yeah.
You're going to head down to Florida on vacation. The movie theater was shut down and they're tearing it down.
Oh, yeah? They're tearing down that whole giant theater?
The gigantic theater. There are like 12 theaters. It is one of the most beautiful palatial movie theaters we have ever seen. But Andy and I can tell you the last time we went there was Jumanji.
We barely ever went there.
Yeah. Jumanji. Went to see Jumanji. Everybody, matter of fact, we bought the expensive seats that move with the movie. I remember they tried that when, if they were flying, your chair would move along with the movie. So Andy and I bought the most expensive seats that were there just so we wouldn't have to sit by a bunch of people. Well, people who didn't buy them just moved in and sat in them anyway while they were on their phones.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
It's like, we're in a movie theater. Could you not look at your screen for just 2 hours? Was that too much to ask? Now, this staring at your screen stuff is disgusting to me. They
need to confiscate.
They do. Put them in the
Just like some comedians, if they're important enough, maybe Chappelle makes people, turn off their phones and put them in some sort of a safe
The
place.
Yonder packs.
Yeah.
They do it a lot for screenings for press. Even if it's like super top secret movie, they'll just give us each a Yonder pouch and we go into the theater.
I mean, it's so bad. I was going down a hallway about maybe 3-4 weeks or something like that, walking down a hallway, and there was a guy walking toward me and he's staring at his phone. And I warned him about 10 feet in advance, you're going to run into a bunch of boxes stocked up in the hallway if you don't pay attention. He was going to walk right into him because he was not paying attention.
Yeah.
I had an ex that used to always walk with his phone and rely on me. Like you could tell he was like kind of leaning on me, like when he would walk, and I'd walk him into poles all the time because I was so annoyed.
The people are so irresponsible. Sometimes I'm driving down the street and there's a guy who's like wandering across the street while looking at his phone. And the thing they don't realize is that I'm half blind. So they're not being very responsible when they do that. No.
And pedestrian deaths are up, and I think it's totally because of phone situations. Either driver on the phone or pedestrians not looking.
Yep.
I'll get it taken care of. All right, sister, another brilliant day turned in, but we'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks a lot. We'll be right back. Wrap things up right after this.
This is the Tom Barnard Show.
Tom here, and I want to discuss a partnership that has been wonderful in my life, Zero Res Carpet Care. Very good friends of mine. Nothing is better to someone with a family than having a completely clean home. Your carpet is the biggest filter in your house. If you want to talk about pet dander or foot traffic, dirt from the outside, they all eventually reside in your carpet. So, Zero Res Carpet Care. Listen, around the holidays, you need to contact ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 952-ZEROREZ. That's 952-ZERO-RES. They clean your home with their electrolyzed pH-elevated water that doesn't use chemicals or soaps that smell like a janitor's closet like other cleaning services. How about a Tom Barnard deal? Well, here it is. Get 3 rooms, Zero Resified, starting at $129, and don't forget your air ducts. Mention me, and they'll discount your air vents by $75 too. This is for the entire month, so call them right now, 952-0-RES, backward or forwarded, spells the same, or book online, ZeroResMinnesota.com. If it's available, ask for them to come to your place in the Tom Barnard named service truck. What an honor that was, by the way. Just mention me by name and get the special deal to get your home clean and your heart happy. Zero Res Carpet.
Recently, Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC was contacted by a company that does on-site sales. Jim was confused.
Wait, they don't know anything about us, our staff, our reputation, most importantly, our customers.
Hey, pal, no problem. We do them all over the country. Get the manager off the roof sale, inflatable gorilla sale, and our favorite, the 13-hour sale with a giant clock that goes to 13. Urgency, baby. We bring our crew because, well, your people are, let's just say, a little laid back.
And the pricing?
Nothing special, sport.
But Jim thought, we price competitively every day. Our prices are special. We definitely don't need these guys. But sale does convey some urgency, so we made a bold decision for his fine dealerships.
Announcing the Valley Buick GMC 365-day sale. And we can even extend it a couple years or so.
I got the air dancer guy, scratch offs, plastic keys, bubble machine.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley or Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Hurry.
You have all helped support MyPillow and their employees in these tough economic times. Mike Lindell knows this and continues to give back to listeners with great deals on his most popular products. Right now, you can save 50% on Queen and King pillows and the original My Slippers, and the MyPillow 6-pack bath towel sets are back in stock. The proprietary technology makes them extremely absorbent, yet still provides that soft feel you look for in a towel. Set comes with 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. Regular price is $79.98. And for a limited time, you can get this 6-pack towel set for only $39.99 with promo code TOM. That's a 50% savings. So go to MyPillow.com, use promo code TOM to save 50% on the MyPillow 6-pack towel sets. That is just $39.99 for a set. This deal will not last long. Enter promo code TOM for this special and many more. All right, there we go.
There it is.
We got her all decked out, no question about that. I don't know what the hell this even means. I just saw the headline. Man got so stuck in a glory hole, firefighters had to pull him until he was free.
Yep.
A lot of innuendos in that.
Well, there's some imagery there.
I have a question, though.
Yeah.
No, these glory holes, isn't that like in a men's bathroom where you drill a hole in the wall? Or isn't that what a glory hole is?
Yeah.
Well, it could be like you know, at a when I think of it, when I've read about it, and naturally,
sure,
but really, it's a lot of it. I think takes place like at a porn store, you know, where people go in booths to. I don't even know if they even exist anymore though, because of the internet.
Right.
That's probably true. Someone just got stuck in one.
Well, but we don't know where it was, right?
Well, it's even got a name. A man had to be rescued from Lincoln's glory hole. What the hell does that mean?
Probably has a Yelp review.
I thought a glory hole was just something that a guy dug through the wall.
Yeah.
So the person in the next stall would see his wiener or whatever.
Or some kind of partition.
Some kind of partition, yeah. But that's what a glory hole is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. Maybe I should read this. Lincolnshire Fire and Rescue were called to High Bridge in the city center on Wednesday when a passerby saw a man on the ledge of a bridge. Ray Fisher was attempting to use the glory hole on his boat, but the current was so strong he decided to stand on the ledge to try to push his boat out after it became. Is this a whole different kind of glory hole we're talking about?
This is clickbait. I just realized what's happening.
This boat thing, is this a metaphor?
No, the glory hole is the name of a passage underneath a bridge in London.
Oh.
Who sent me that, you pills?
Lincoln, England, wherever that is.
You know, there was a guy who was on the morning show at one time. And this guy was on the morning show. He was a little sketchy. And I said to him one day, and you know the guy you may know the guy I'm talking about.
Where did he end up working after he left the KQ?
In New York for a while. And then he wound up in prison, I believe. Didn't he?
He went to prison, yep.
Yeah. So, but I was trying to kind of get to know him a little bit because he was on the show. I didn't want to have him over for coffee or anything. But I said, so what have you been doing in the last year? He said, well, I've been working in the adult entertainment business.
He was?
That's what he said. And I said, well, what were you doing? And he said, well, I was swabbing the glory hole booths. I was mopping them up.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Good life.
Yeah.
So that's show business, is it now? Is it when you do that?
That's show biz, kid.
It's the old, it's the old joke. Get what and get out of show business?
Yeah.
No, it's true. Pretty much true. But I got to get rid of that. Honest God, I clicked on the story and I'm like, what the hell is this thing even?
Yeah.
But so we can maybe pre-read some of this stuff. If you send Uncle Tommy, might be a good plan. Yeah, I had never heard of Lincoln's glory hole. I never even know what the hell that is. But it's just it's a passage under a bridge in England.
Yep. I hope he's free.
That's all it is.
Why would they call it the glory hole, though? Because isn't it known for what we were thinking?
Yeah, totally.
It wasn't always.
Oh, wasn't always?
Nope. That meaning is much newer.
Oh, I see. I didn't even know that. I had no idea that was the case. There was a much newer meaning to the whole thing. I don't know. That's the other thing.
How about this story? Talking about how much we hate when people are on cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
The Maple Grove Middle School banned cell phones a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed to use them at all during school hours. And apparently it's gone very well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No one's complaining about it. They're just, accepting that they can't be on cell phones. And apparently it's improving things quite a bit.
A lot of schools have done that.
Yeah.
Not enough, but a lot have. There are some schools where the situation is like teachers would rather the students be on the phone.
Yeah, absolutely. Because then they don't have to really pay attention.
Yeah, and then they're not trying to stab each other.
That too,
and
yeah.
That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. There's a lot of schools where it's like you tell the kids to get off their cell phones, they're just going to try to kill you.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's weird to me when parents get mad about this because once in a great while they'll say, "Hey, kids aren't allowed to have phones in their school," and they'll say, "Well, I want my kid to get a hold of me at any time," and I go,
"No,
what? Like, why? I don't need a text about a lunch or this or that. You'll figure it out. You have adults around you. There's enough." But that's the only time where they have backlash is like, of course, teachers would rather have kids pay attention and be involved in class.
Yeah. And parents want to know if there's an emergency. For example, if the teacher's trying to get them to read Huckleberry Finn.
True that.
Yeah, there you go.
Nothing worse than that.
Oh.
Does anybody know where you could find a list of the last, let's say, 20 years of the 12 days of Christmas, the cost of the 12 days of Christmas? Because I think it might have shot up a little bit this year, but I'm not sure because I don't keep track of it. You know what I'm talking about on the first day of Christmas? My true love gave
the
me.
Price of geese?
Yeah.
Well,
you mean
there is a price of the whole package.
Let me check.
And there always has been, like going back about, 10, 20 years, whatever it is. Because I looked at the price.
How do you put a price on Lords of Leaping, for example?
Well, I found one that
right.
They have. They said that the Lords of Leaping. It's so funny that you mentioned that was the first one you mentioned because right away last year was $13,980 for 10 Lords. This year it's $14,500. So it's good
Just
to know.
paying Lords to leap, I guess.
That's an really expensive price even for 10.
Yeah, really. Well, they are Lords, though. I mean,
sure. Lords don't come cheap.
No.
The song rang in an all-time high this year of $46,729, and this is from 2023.
Yeah, I'm going to go right after the show to Lords or Us.
All right. Well, the show's done, so you can go now. So that'll be the ticket. All right. That's going to do it. We will talk to you tomorrow on this show, and we'll be right back with the family show right after this. Before you head back to one of the big box stores for your hunting and shooting needs this season, do yourself a favor and visit My Choice, K&L Surplus and Ammo in Lino Lakes. Not only does K&L have one of the widest selections of firearms and ammo in the Twin Cities, they also do business the right way. They want to make sure that you have the right firearm and the right ammo for your needs. Jim, the owner, has over 25 years of experience in the business and will help you find what you need at a fair price. Speaking of prices, a lot of stores are using inflation and supply shortages as an excuse to raise prices on ammunition. Not K&L. Jim's doing everything to hold the line on pricing so you can spend more time on the range. Find out for yourself why K&L Surplus and Ammo has been the choice of gun owners for over 25 years. Go in and chat with Jim in person at the store on Lake Drive in Lino Lakes or online at klgunstore.com. klgunstore.com.
Hello, I'm Brad Huckle, President and Chief Lending Officer at North American Banking Company.
And I'm Michael Bilski, CEO at North American Banking Company.
As a locally owned and operated community bank, we work with many multi-generational businesses.
Take Personal Care Dentistry of Roseville, for example. Dr. Walter Hunt, also known as Painless to me, has been a longtime customer of the bank since we opened the bank in 1998.
When his son Kyle was ready to join the practice, they wanted to expand quickly.
With their additional space and equipment, they now are able to see more patients each day while providing the same level of care and service.
Okay, guys, I'll take it from here. If you run a family business or any kind of business for that matter, you should be banking with Brad and Mike over at North American Banking Company. Every time I deal with them or their team, I know I'm working with experienced professional bankers. So why not bank with my banker? North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Is that text you're sending so important that you missed your turn? Is that text you're sending so important that you ran the red light? Is that text you're sending so important you didn't see the ball coming onto the road or the child that followed? Hi, I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant. When you take your eyes off the road for even 4 seconds, your vehicle travels 100 yards. That's the entire length of a football field. If you absolutely have to text, you need to pull off the road somewhere safe and do it from there. Texting and driving is against the law and can cause serious injury or even death to you and others. Now that is important. We hope you're never injured in a collision, but if you are, please contact us.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Going farther with Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
Tom Barnard is back. Every weekday, you'll hear Tommy B, Brittany Arneson. Yes, that Brittany Arneson. Along with Tom's pals, Kent Herbeck on Fridays, Bob Sansevier, Mike Stretch Gelfand, Tim Lammers, and from Channel 5 Eyewitness News, Chris Eggert and Kristen Burt on entertainment and pop culture. It's Tom and the crew with opinions on news, opinions on life, opinions on entertainment,
And of course, opinions on other people's stupid opinions.
The Tom Barnard Show is a podcast, so you can listen when you want to listen. In the car, on the way to or from work, at home, on the job site, or wherever you need your Tommy B Show fix. Hear the show on the Tom Barnard Show app in your app store, as a podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts, or see it on YouTube on the Tom Barnard Show channel.
Welcome to the family with
Tevin Pittman,
Mike Gelfand,
And Andy Brand Bernard.
Hey, there you go. So what's the latest?
Well, it's been kind of a rough week in my circle. You know my buddy Bob Lundegaard. You know who he is.
Oh, sure. I know Lundegaard really well.
Yeah. So Lundy and Lundy befriended me when I was 18. I was working at the Minnesota Daily. He was at the Tribune, Minneapolis Tribune.
Sure.
We covered the same trial, and one day I found out some interesting information that nobody else had. And so, next day we walk into the courtroom before the trial starts, and he comes up to me and he says, "Gelfand, you scooped me today." Now, not a lot of guys working for the Minneapolis Tribune would say that to an 18-year-old working at the Daily.
Yeah.
We were fast friends. Been 55 years now. We've been fast friends ever since. I mean, we did everything together. We had lunch together more days than not. He and I have played Scrabble together, tennis together. I mean, we were on the same. We had a softball team. We did everything together. So it's just, he's been really close to me. And I don't know if you read the story. It was on all the TV stations, and it was certainly in the Star Tribune for sure, about the 62-year-old guy who was murdered at a bus stop in Edina.
Mm-hmm. It was his brother.
That was Lundy's son.
Oh, it was his son. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
I knew it was a family member.
Yeah.
But the guy was like 62, something like
The
that.
guy was 62. It's interesting because that guy was much closer in age to me than Lundy is.
Yeah, right.
But I didn't really know Chris, but I'd talked to him over the years on occasions. He was in. I mean, everybody has an interesting story to tell, of course, if you know them. And he had an ongoing battle with alcohol, but he'd been sober for 10 years, which is why he was at the grocery store picking up a non-alcoholic, sort of faux champagne.
Oh, okay.
for the Thanksgiving dinner. This was the night before Thanksgiving. And then, of course, what happened was a guy who was mentally ill, probably a schizophrenic.
Severely mentally ill, yes.
Yeah, because and he was, because after he stabbed Chris, he didn't go anywhere. He just
No, exactly.
yeah.
Yep.
So it's been, I don't sleep that well since then.
No, I understand that, Mike. I saw that same story, and all you keep seeing these shootings and the stabbings and the murders, and they always say, turns out the man had severe mental problems. Then why the hell is he out in the street in the first place?
That's right. That's exactly right. And you know what? I don't think anyone's going to write that story.
No, they won't.
So I think I'm going to write it.
Good.
Because I think we all need to know that someone like this should not be on the street. This is a guy who'd been committed on several occasions. He had a rap sheet, about a mile long.
Didn't they say like 70 offenses?
Oh, it's a huge number, and a lot of them involve violence too. So the way it's supposed to work is he's supposed to have a social worker. Now, social workers are in short supply these days, of course, but he's supposed to have someone who works to keep him from being, because he's a danger to himself and others.
Yeah.
So the idea is to keep this guy off the streets, but it's not that easy. So I want to know what happened, how it happened.
Well, nobody ever goes to the hospital. Nobody ever goes to jail anymore. Everybody's, you killed 5 people, but if you'd promised not to do it again, we'll just let you out. Why are we doing that?
Then you have the county attorney, of course, the Hennepin County attorney, who puts them back on the street. But those are people who are just normal criminals. These are people who are mentally ill. And have you ever seen a mental ward in a local hospital?
Oh yeah.
So you know what it's like. They've got like 12 beds, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are hospitals that are bigger than some cities. And they've got a mental ward for 12 people. And the reason, I mean, we talk about it every day. The reason why they've only got 12 beds there.
You can't keep them in there?
No, it's because they're just not profitable.
Oh, well, you got to make money off of people's mental illness, don't you?
Yeah.
See, Mike, that's been my argument for a couple of years now. Everything is about money.
Yeah.
Your healthcare, your education, your politics, it's all about money. So they don't keep anybody there. We don't make any money off of that. We're not taking care of you.
No.
It's disgusting.
Yep. And we need to have a system that protects everyone.
Yeah.
And in theory, this is what we're supposed to have. But, as far as social workers go, of course, hundreds of them quit because, hundreds of not millennials, but hundreds of course, the greatest generation ones are gone. And now pretty much the boomers are pretty much gone too. They've all retired.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like with a lot of other professions, there's not enough people out there who either can get the job or want the job. And this is this is something that just trickles down and works to the disadvantage of everyone.
No question. Well, I think I mentioned to you a few months ago that I had some problems with my vision. So I went to the hospital to make sure it wasn't a brain problem or anything like that. Right. So I had a couple of scans done. I was at the hospital for 3 hours and the bill was $12,000.
Mm-hmm.
$12,000.
Yeah. Well, that's all part of the whole thing, where we have the only there's no medical system in the world like we have, because the other ones are typically based on what's best for citizens. And this one is based on what's best for insurance companies and hospitals.
You know what I loved most about that visit to the hospital? I won't say which hospital it was because most of the people there were very, very pleasant. Mm-hmm. But there were 3 separate parts of the bill that added up. There was $4,000. And they asked me, well, you don't have, I said, I'm fully covered. At my age, I'm fully covered. I got all the insurance you need. Here it all is. Well, no, this one part's not covered. And I said, oh, okay. It was $4,000. So I paid the $4,000 bill. Mm-hmm. They later found out, we were wrong. It was covered. So we will reimburse you. And I said, okay, when? They said, and I'm not kidding, sometime in the next 12 months.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, no
Not kidding.
question.
Right. Didn't take you 12 months to swipe my card before I left.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In 2020, we had to do an amendment to our tax return.
Mm-hmm.
We got the refund check 3 months ago.
I hope you got interest.
No, of course not.
3 years.
And it should be said, because I've had a trip to the hospital here and there, not too often, but over the last 10 or 15 years, and the people who work, the healthcare workers, are fabulous.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They go all the way, and they're so. And I wound up in the hospital for a few days, right in the smack middle of COVID. And it was really lucky that they had a bed for me. And so after about the fourth day, I was ready to go. And the hospitalist, you have hospitalists who work closely with all the other doctors and nurses. And the hospitalist said to me, well, you should be here another day. And I said, yeah, but I need to go home and sleep. And she said, well, there is a lot of COVID here. So I got out of there a little bit early. But I mean, just you could see the tension, especially in the nurses. They're working 12-hour shifts, and they're just but they don't, it's their faces show it, but their actions don't.
What's so amazing about it, I keep going back to the same visit, but you were right. The people that work there, the women and men that work there, were very, very pleasant, did a great job. They were very easy to deal with. Luckily, most of them were listeners, so that does help.
It does help, yeah.
It helps quite a bit, no question. But so it's the people who own the hospitals that are making all this money.
It's very profitable.
Yeah, the nurses and
you just got mad.
You'd get them.
Yeah, the people that are working there, I mean, it's a lot like if you go to a business and the owner might be a scumbag, but the employee who's just trying to make a buck to pay their bills and really cares, in this case the nurses, they want to help somebody, so yeah, they're going to give it their all. They can't control the regulations that people put in place, but yeah, they're there to help out.
I have a question for you. So there are 5.5 million people living in Minnesota now? Isn't that about right?
Yeah, I guess that sounds about right. Yeah.
There are 5.7.
5.7 million. So we went up by 200,000 since last year.
Maybe we'll get another congressman someday. Won't that be great?
Okay, Andy. So you're going to have to, I'm going to round the number up by $19 just so it's not so hard to do. Would you multiply $600 by 5.7 million people? Insured Minnesotans' healthcare costs $600 more per person last year. Wow. That was last year, not this year. I mean, how much money is that?
And when is this spiral going to stop?
$3.4 billion.
$3.4 billion just in the state of Minnesota.
How about universal health care? Has anyone ever tried that?
Canada.
Yeah, pretty much every country except ours.
Except ours, yes. Oh, there's just too much money to be made, honest to God.
Because all the others are based on, it's at some level at least, are based on what's best for the people.
Now, all of the three of you have health care, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it is pretty much all 5.7 million people in Minnesota that had to pay this, right? I mean, everybody had to pay it.
I would say there's probably a large amount of people that don't have health care.
That don't have any health care at all. Boy, that's dangerous.
There's some, and a lot of people, of course, they're on the, min care.
Mm-hmm.
And so I assume even though that's for people who just can't get health care, mostly of them they're impoverished, but I assume they pay a little more too.
Apparently 8% of the population is uninsured. So it's actually pretty small.
That's not, that's a lot smaller than I thought it would be. I thought it'd be about a quarter of the people. So it's 8%. So literally we are still looking at that figure, let's say $3.2 billion, right?
Well, and the people who aren't insured, I mean, we pay for them.
We pay for them too. See, that's the other part.
Yes, we do.
They have to have, and I'm not going to deprive someone from health insurance because they're broke, because there are some people that have no money. Although, to tell you the truth, back when I was a kid, we didn't have any money, and there was nobody handing out any health care back then. I can guarantee you that.
There's a lot of different.
Yeah, it was a lot different back then.
You
But
know, when the Mayo Clinic, it's been, I don't know, 100 years or something or more since the Mayo
Mhm.
Clinic opened
Yep.
in Rochester. But for a long time, they treated they treated residents around the area for free.
oh, I remember that. Yes. Yep,
Yeah.
I do remember it. Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
That's not. Well, they're going to build a whole nother hospital, I heard. That
Oh,
they're going to build another extension to the Mayo Clinic.
Oh, and they're springing up, and auxiliaries are springing up all over the country. Probably there must be some that even aren't in the U.S.
Yeah, probably
There
true.
will be if not.
All right, we can lighten the moment because look, that's the number, $3.4 billion just in Minnesota alone. So nationwide, it has to be nearly $1 trillion, I would imagine.
If you look up like on Wikipedia, wherever, a mid-sized city, a city with maybe 75,000, 100,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
probably about half the time, they'll list the largest employers. I would say at least half the time, the largest employer is a hospital.
Yeah, it is quite often.
Often, yeah.
So
Yep.
this is like a huge chunk of the economy, and it's a warped chunk.
It certainly is. So to lighten the moment just a little bit, because if we keep up on this, we're all the four of us are just going to be so pissed off that having to pay all of this money to protect our loved ones. And that's the part of it that really makes me upset. Look, we're trying to cover our loved ones, make sure they're healthy and all the rest of it. And the costs keep going up and up and up and up. So how many people, what you said, 8% of the people get left behind, but then we pay for them. But there are some people who won't go to a hospital because they don't have insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be very harmful to a lot of people, I would think.
I knew a guy at the racetrack. He was making millions of dollars, hitting the pick six left and right.
Really?
Back in the days, the early days of Canterbury, when the pick six, sometimes the pool would get to $1 million or come close. And this guy, he was a very skilled gambler. He'd come in from the East Coast, knowing that there'd be a lot of, basically, he talked about Canterbury being the soft underbelly of gambling in the U.S.
Really?
So there was all this money coming in from people who didn't know what they were doing, which meant that if you knew what you were doing, my brother and I, we hit the pick six fairly often in those early years.
Really?
We kind of knew what we were doing. And he had a lot of money, but he would, if he got sick, he didn't have any health insurance or anything. So if he got sick, he would go to a hospital in whatever city he was in, and he would just tell them that he was impoverished because he wanted to get it free.
Well, I suppose, yeah.
So this sort of scam would not exist if we had universal health care.
Oh, there's no question. And as you said, most of the planet does have universal health care, correct?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
That's what I understand. I don't know why is there a certain amount of pride in America? It's like, oh, we don't need that. We can take care of ourselves. Is that part of the problem?
I don't really think so. I think it's because the lowest level lobbyist for the insurance industry or the healthcare industry is probably more powerful than most senators.
God, isn't that amazing?
Because they got the money. They're distributing the money.
They represent a lot of money.
There's no doubt about it. All right, to lighten the load here a little bit, because that is very stressful. Obviously, you have loved ones. We all have loved ones. And what's it going to cost? Andy, what's it going to cost when you're my age? Jesus, what's it going to be, $6,000 a month?
I have a feeling by then the dollar is going to have to be restructured. We're going to have the new dollar.
You're going to have to. You're absolutely right about that. So we can lighten it up by talking about the new state flag in Minnesota.
Oh, they actually picked it?
No, not yet. They're having problems because there are several people that say, oh, my God. Ted Kay is his name, an expert in flag design who compiled a book on the subject, suggested a few changes to improve the 6 finalists for Minnesota's new state flag. His quote is, they all need work. So apparently our 6 flags.
Tim Kay said that.
Mm-hmm.
Where's he from? Does it say where he's from?
I wonder. Let's
It
see.
does not say where he's from.
Because it sounds to me like Tim Kaine needs to mind his business and let us just pick a
What do
flag.
you mean?
Like, it needs work. It's a flag. Nobody cares, Tim. He's just trying to keep his job relevant. A flag
but-
expert.
They're redesigning the flag, so somebody's got to watch over it.
I have to quote JB on this one. Keep your opinions to yourself.
Yeah,
Flag
there you
design expert. This is probably his one gig he's got all year.
Oh, yeah.
To chime in on this. Like, you just calm down, Tim. We don't-
Kevin, it says here, expert grades Minnesota state flag. It says expert right here.
He can go be an expert somewhere else. Let us pick our crappy flag and
It's
hang
our
it up.
flag.
Yeah, nobody cares.
And then he can come back
Ted.
when they decide to change the name of Minnesota.
Yeah, that's coming.
it's
That's coming up soon.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, he
That's
has a book called Good Flag, Bad Flag.
No, I bet that's a bestseller.
Yep, there you go.
Trying to promote his book.
Number 3 on the Amazon chart.
Yeah, the North American Vexillological Association recommends it.
Vexillological, pardon me.
So, if you're a vexillologist, then this book is for you.
I'm not a vexillologist, but I'm vexed.
Yes, I'm just
Most of the time.
vexed.
Are you anti-vex? Or are you pro-vex?
Oh no, I've had 6 vexes.
So I have a question for you. Why again are we redesigning the state flag? Who cares?
Because a lot of bureaucrats with nothing to do need to feel important.
Yeah. Somebody thought it was offensive. Okay, let's change it. It shouldn't take this long to change the flag.
See, what
How
I
is it
think they
offensive?
should have done. So the current flag is there's like a Native American and a European, and
Which
they're
is
just kind
good.
of like looking at each other.
That's good.
I think they should change it so they're both strangling each other.
Yeah.
You go the opposite direction that they wanted us to go.
Or if we really wanted to get it over with quick, just keep the same flag, but then just take the 2 people out of it. So now you just have an empty field,
Yeah.
with the tree,
There you
with the
go.
circle, and
Minnesota,
everything. Yeah.
there's nothing here.
And let's go.
There are no people here. Just never mind the 5.5 or 5.7 million now in the state. 6 finalists for the new Minnesota state flag, 5 for new state seal. Minnesotans can now weigh in on the state flag seal finalists. Where have all the loons gone? And other questions about the Minnesota flag. This is a flag. Who cares?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
It's how much time do you spend thinking about the state seal?
well, it's like before all of this was happening. If someone told you to draw the state seal, how far could you have gotten?
I would
Like,
just
could
draw
have-
a seal.
I would have made a circle.
I would put, if you were like
And
draw
then-
the flag or seals, I'm the outline,
Yep.
nothing else.
I don't know what's inside the circle. I just know it's stuff inside a circle. But yeah, I'm looking at the finalists. They're basically all there's a star on all of them,
Yes.
or like a twinkle kind of thing, which makes sense. It's the Star of the North.
Yeah.
But
Right.
they're not
Are
terribly
they-
exciting. But it's a flag. Who really
Exactly.
cares?
Why do you think, and I really want your honest opinion, why do you think everybody is so easily offended now? My God, people are easily offended. I don't get it.
Like I said, I don't know if anyone actually cared about this. I think it was just like a bunch of people who have been paid far too much money to do nothing. They're like, oh,
Right.
well, I need to justify my own existence. So let's find a problem
Yes.
and fix it.
This is their one exciting moment where they get to, rally and we can make a difference. So we're going to change the flag. It's like, just everybody calm down. If we
It's-
want a new flag, get a new one, but it shouldn't be this.
It's the classic case of a solution looking for a problem.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's one of those situations. If you had asked me a year ago, hey, Tom, describe the Minnesota state flag, I would have had no idea where to start. Not a clue.
No one knew.
I didn't know. You said there's a Native American on a horse, I think. And then there's like a European guy plowing a field or something.
Yep.
Like that.
Right. And if they were like, hey, we're going to change the flag every year and this is going to be our new thing, I'd be like, that's fine too.
Just going to randomize our flag every year.
Now they're going to have a Native American selling weed.
Yeah, there you go. It's the changing with the times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all recreational. Let's not forget that.
Absolutely.
Doing the best job they can. I just think we take every problem and make it much bigger than it actually is. Why do we need to do that? I don't get it.
I think we're conditioned to when there's serious problems, the only way to get anything done is to make a bunch of noise to draw attention. And so then when there's something that would be, in the grand scheme of things, a very minor problem, such as changing the flag, we still try to put all of the same amount of noise and energy into it. And something like changing the flag, it could have been, I don't know, like a fun, hey, we just get to change the flag. Everybody send in your ideas. We'll pick one and who really cares? And now it's turned into this like, well, is it really quality enough? Does it really represent what Minnesota is? And like, come on, just pick a flag, guys.
Again, no one cares.
Right.
I don't think anybody cares what the flag is. I just leave it alone. Let's move on. Why don't you spend time on other things that are much more important, like not getting people stabbed to death by some nut job that you didn't put in an institution?
Yeah. I wonder what the dollar amount is when you break down everybody's salary that's been trying to change the flag, what the monetary amount is that now has gone into this, because it's got to be high. They've been doing this for months now.
Yeah, it has been months.
Well, the one benefit of it is that it's a quote problem that can be solved. We can all congratulate each other. We got this baby done.
But people are going to be bitching about it no matter what it is.
Yeah, but most of us won't care.
I don't care now.
No.
Well, it's a lot like when the Lake Calhoun Beta Maca Ska or whatever name changed, and then it changed back, and then now it changed again, or then changed again. It's very similar to that, where nobody really cares what you call the lake. We're just going to run around it, put whatever sign up you want. Same thing with the flag.
Oh, did they change the name of the old Calhoun again?
Well, they originally changed it to like the Beta Maca Ska ski. So I can't
Beta Maca Ska, I believe.
And then briefly, I think it changed back right away because there was like the backlash, and then it officially went full Beta Maca Ska.
Yeah, it's officially changed now. Yeah.
Oh, it is now changed. And Calhoun did he own slaves or something?
Yeah.
So, I think who the hell even is Calhoun?
I couldn't point him out of a two-man.
Yeah, who's Calhoun?
No,
I swear to God,
he was in that Amos and Andy show, wasn't he?
Hey, that's what I was just going to say.
Like after, yes.
When I was a kid, a little boy, I swear to God, when I first heard the name of that lake, I thought it was named after the Calhoun on Amos and Andy. The only Calhoun I'd ever heard of, right?
Makes sense.
And that was a great show with white guys playing black guys.
Not the one that was on television.
Well, no, but on radio, where it
on radio was. Yeah. Yes, on radio was white guys playing black guys, but once it was on television, it was so. I never heard the radio show, so I don't know.
So if it's a radio show of white guys playing black guys, is that black voice?
Yeah, really.
Is that a scandal?
It was a caricature, which was somewhat negative. It's like, whoa, and that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
I remember the radio show because my mother used to listen to it when I was like 4.
Yeah, really? See, I don't remember.
I've never heard a radio show in my life.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I have. I heard a radio show in Fallout 4, but that doesn't really count.
I still loved Sapphire. That was my favorite quote on the show, because Amos did love Amos and Andy. That was Andy that was married to Sapphire, wasn't it? I think.
I don't know.
I don't remember who Amos was, and I know they were best friends. I do. I thought it was a very entertaining show. It was always very funny. Where I grew up would fit right in anyway. There were families like that around me. I don't know, man. Things get very, very weird for who knows why. But Star Tribune hired a new chief product officer. Now, what's a chief product officer for a newspaper, Mike?
It's someone who has nothing to do with journalism.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Is that what it is, really?
Yes. What does that mean? Does the story tell us what that means?
I can read the story and run it down for you, because I got to be honest with you, I've never heard of a chief product. What the hell happened to the story now?
In my years in journalism, no one ever said, Mike, we'd like you to put out a good product for us today.
No, it sounds like there was a guy that didn't want to retire but wasn't quite useful anymore, and so they're like, we'll just find a new spot.
Hey, you're describing my dad when he was the reader's representative.
It basically sounds like it's glorified marketing.
Oh, it's marketing. So who is the guy, Andy? You got the story?
For Star Tribune?
Yeah, Star Tribune hires chief product officer with New York Times, The Guardian experience. So there you
Aaron
go.
Pilhofer.
Pilhofer.
Sure, so who's Pilhofer?
Famous Minnesota name.
It is. Who are the Pilhofers in Minnesota?
I'm not sure, but wasn't a guy named Pilhofer? Wasn't he the conductor of the Minnesota Orchestra?
Oh, maybe that's where I heard it, because I know I've heard the name.
Composer, one of the two.
I think he was just a poser.
So basically, it's the new chief financial officer. So
that's much more important than this.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, that's money.
As far as I can tell, okay, here we go. Pill Offer will lead the Star Tribune's efforts to grow its digital products and services.
Oh, so they
So
because
it's marketing, yeah.
so they do understand nobody's going to pick up a paper newspaper anymore.
It didn't even mention the physical paper in his job description.
No,
so
The circulation, is still not that bad.
it depends on the publication, of course,
Yeah.
and the area for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and it's mostly people, of course, in their 60s or 70s, but
Oh, is
but
it?
other people, some other people too. I just every now and then, when I'm at the grocery store, I'll buy that day's edition of the Star Tribune, and I don't know. For me, there's a real comfort in it, even if the news is terrible. Just
No, I understand that.
pick up that product and read it. But for me, a lot of that is nostalgia.
We still get it at our
Yeah.
house every day.
Yeah, see,
And
Yep.
Tom, because you mentioned the Pillhofer family that might be famous in Minnesota.
Yes,
There was
sir.
a Herb Pillhofer.
Herb, right. He was a
that was a
composer.
composer and
Worked with the
musician.
Guthrie.
Yep, the
There you
Guthrie,
go.
and then wrote the sounds like he wrote the hockey team song for the North Stars back in '67.
Really?
Yeah.
I do remember that name, absolutely. So Herb Pillhofer it was. Yeah, there you go. So I don't know. I just you get the news out there. Does anybody? Well, I got to be honest with you. I check the Digital Star Tribune page every day.
Yeah.
I don't hold the newspaper, even though it's delivered to our house every day. I don't hold the newspaper in my hands anymore. First of all, it's only about 6-7 pages now, anyway.
Yeah, which is like 10 times the size of the St. Paul paper, which isn't really.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
It's just one word
Yeah,
a
it's
day.
bad.
It's
Yeah.
one word per day. You have to assemble them yourself.
That's
throughout the
all
week.
you get. You get one word per day, and then that's just how it's going to be. Basically, that's it.
But the thing is, if you want to have any shot at knowing what's going on in Minneapolis and the Twin Cities,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Star Tribune is the only place you're going to find it.
Oh, I think that's probably true. Matter of fact, I like looking at local news, whether it's the newspapers, television, whatever, much more than the national news. The national news
Yeah.
is unbearable now. You guys been watching it at all?
Nope.
It's hard for me. It's hard to avoid.
Yeah, I understand, but
Yeah, but these days, it's of course the big story is Israel.
what do you think about that, Mike? That's quite the story right there, isn't it?
I think there have been opportunities at some points, maybe to just do what is the logical thing, which is to have two different states, right? Doesn't that make sense?
I guess.
I mean, they're always going to be at war if you don't have it. They'll probably be at war if you do, but maybe it's possible to have leaders who find that to be acceptable, because obviously nobody thinks this is acceptable.
Well, Mike, I gotta ask you this. I am absolutely shocked at our college system, the way they have turned on Jews in this country. What is that all about?
Well, it is a pretty small minority, but obviously they make a lot of noise, and because of their venom and their hate and their stupidity, they get the headlines.
I got to be honest with you.
Colleges have to deal with this.
I don't care if a family member of mine got a scholarship. I would not want anybody in my family going anywhere near Harvard. I cannot believe that Harvard has turned on Jews the way they have. It's disgusting.
No, they're. I will say this: they know it's a huge problem, but how they deal with it will, of course, be the test of just what kind of institution it is.
Yeah, it's not great so far. I'll tell you that,
No,
Mike.
and we know also with Harvard. Harvard is a big legacy university.
Oh yes, absolutely. And they're worth how? Andy looked it up. Wasn't it like they're worth like $20 billion or something, or $52 billion?
Yeah, it's more like 52 billion.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did we
$3 billion in assets?
$53 billion? Why did we get to a point where any of our universities, any of our colleges, got to a worth of $52 billion without helping everybody?
Well, I know, and it's of course they get all sorts of money from people who shouldn't have graduated from there.
Well, the problem is that we have a culture of go to college or you're a worthless idiot.
Right.
So everyone is going to college, whether they should or not. And that means that colleges basically have absolute control over the economy. So they can charge what they want and people are still going to pay it.
But
well,
why did
they have a big influence over some pieces of the economy, like law firms, for example.
Oh
There's
God,
a lot of
yes.
jobs out there you need a degree for, even if the degree is
Well,
completely irrelevant.
Just a degree in general.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, why should every single job need a degree? And why would a job like, okay, you're a real estate broker. In order to become a realtor, you need a degree. You don't need a degree in real estate. You can have a degree in math.
Right.
They just want you to have a degree. Why?
Well, I think I know several realtors, and I'm just amazed at their knowledge of the laws and the ordinances and all
Yeah.
the things that. So they do need some kind of education.
But they don't learn that in college, though. They learn that
they
in
learn
realtor
it
school.
in real estate school.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
But they'll be like, we need you to go to, whatever university and just get a generic bachelor's degree just so you can say you can check that box. And then you have to go to real estate school, where it's like, just go to real estate school. You don't need to have some fancy degree to sell
And there's a
it.
lot of jobs like that. It's like, yeah, you want to manage our, McDonald's in a town of population 5,000. I hope you have a degree. Otherwise, you're not getting hired.
Well, I'd been at the Wall Street. I was 22. I'd been at the Wall Street Journal for about 6-7 months, and I was talking to the managing editor, and I said something about not having a college degree.
Oh,
and
God.
He said, "You don't have a college degree?" I said, "No." He said, "Okay."
Yeah, because back then it wasn't that big of a deal.
Well, it was a big deal, except for the fact I'd been there. I had proved that I could do the job, so it no longer mattered.
Well, that's the real hard part. Is it's because a lot of job recruiters use a college degree as a shortcut. They can just throw out anyone who doesn't have a degree, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, it's because they haven't proven that they're capable or intelligent or whatever." It's not illegal to discriminate against people with a college degree, so that's what they're going to do. It makes their jobs easier.
Well, at college, the recruiters, that used to be a real thing. I mean, I did not graduate from college in the early 70s, and the recruiters were all over the place, trying to recruit students to do any number of jobs, but they're not there anymore. It's a different kind of thing now. But I think that a lot of times it's easy to lose what the concept of what colleges are all about, because number one, colleges are about helping people figure out what they want to do, and that's really important, because a lot of those people figure out they want to be, whatever, lawyers, nurses, doctors, whatever. They figure out they want to do things that are important. I mean, every job is important, of course, but they figure out things they can do that would be very important to them and to all of us. So that's big. The other thing is, in theory, at least, going to college helps you to think, because the whole concept is the concept that we don't see much in education anymore. It's basically goes back, to the concept that we learn by challenging. We learn by not accepting the norm. And that's a big thing for people to learn, because if you don't learn that, if you don't learn how to accept the challenge of the things you've always just assumed, you miss a lot.
Yeah, my notes. If you challenge me, I'm going to dock you.
Yeah, I mean, it's the the Socratic method. It's what everything in this country is based on. It's our economy is based on that. And now that it's not based on it so much, we're seeing a lot of problems with our economy. Same thing with education. The Socratic method was supposed to help teach, for that matter, certainly high school kids. But high school kids, it depends. There's some great high schools, but there's a lot of high schools where that's just, you never get there with students, because most of them, in the first place, they don't read. And a lot of them aren't interested in going to class. And we fail at every level because of that.
Isn't that amazing? Andy, would you do me a favor and look up how much money Harvard donates to charity every year, or donates to help people every year?
I think it's $24.
It's gotten up that high at $24, really?
Well, the one thing, of course, they do is they provide free tuition to a lot of people.
Yeah, but that's only rich people.
Yeah.
No. The rich people pay, but the people who can't afford to. But of course, they're going to have more trouble recruiting the people who can't pay because of the fact that people are going to say that it's affirmative action, which is no longer legal.
I'm finding a whole lot of pages about giving to Harvard.
Yeah, so
I'm not really seeing anything about Harvard giving to anyone else.
Same thing. I looked for it and I couldn't find it.
I think most of it is probably just about giving free tuition, because
Well,
what would Harvard, if somebody actually paid the full price, which some of the legacy people do,
Mhm.
I wonder how much that would be.
Boy, it'd be a lot of dough.
250,000 or so, right?
Probably true. But if you can't get a 7% rate on $53 billion, then you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Mhm.
So basically there's $3.8 billion of interest on that money alone every year. How many people can go to college on just the interest from that money?
Well, let's see. Harvard tuition. Let's see. It's about $56,000.
Really?
Hmm.
$224,000. What was the number you said?
I said 250, but I was including things like room and board and stuff.
Yeah, we'll just round up to 250, I would say.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then the interest number was what now?
7% on $3.7 billion.
$3.7 billion.
Oh, it would be three. No, I'm sorry. The interest on $53 billion is about 3.7, isn't it?
Right. 15,000 people.
15,000 people.
15,000 free 4-year degrees at Harvard.
Every year. That's just the interest.
Well, this is 4-year degrees.
Right. And the thing about the legacy people is that they not only pay the full tab,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just the start of
Oh,
it.
their dads are donating hospitals
Yes,
and
exactly.
entire wings. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. 100%.
Kushner went to Harvard, right?
Yeah, he did.
That a lot of money had to switch hands for him to go to Harvard.
No, you don't think he's bright enough to be in there?
I don't
Harvard
think
received $1.4 billion in donations in 2018.
In donations.
In donations.
It's how the system works, and we let
It
your
is.
kid in, and
It's
then
how it works.
he has a kid, and it just keeps going from generation to generation.
So we can't just put out a Tom Barnard morning show. You can donate today.
Right.
Type
Is
of
there-
message.
is there any
we
way
can,
to-
but is anyone going to give us
Is there-
$1.4 billion? Probably not.
Is there any way to attach the show link to their
Right.
donation link? And we can just merge
Yeah.
accounts. Yeah.
And when I worked in the journalism business, especially at the Minneapolis Tribune, every summer the legacy kids from Harvard and Yale poured in because they wanted to say on their resumes before they went to law school that they had worked for a newspaper.
Oh,
And
yeah.
And of course, many of them were very bright. Most of them were pretty smart. Very few had any interest in journalism. Most of them had never written a paragraph before. And so as a journalist, they provided no value at all. But I knew a few who thought they were better journalists than anyone at the paper.
No, I'm not condemning everyone. I'm just saying this is in my personal life.
Mhm.
So I'm not condemning everyone. But most of the people I know that have graduated from Harvard are the biggest assholes I've ever met. You had the same experience?
I had that experience with the ones who were summer interns and would graduate from Harvard. Yeah, I didn't really run into a lot of people who are Harvard graduates, but I know of a lot because half of our politicians, especially the ones who keep talking about how horrible the elite are in this country.
Yes,
They're the
exactly.
ones that went to Harvard and then Yale.
Yeah. No, it feels like just kind of the Ivy League schools in general. They have a very elitist attitude. I remember when I was in high school, I got recruited to play football by Brown University, and I was talking to somebody and I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't think I'm going to go out there. I have no interest in going to Brown University. One, probably can't get into Brown University, but that's a whole nother story." And he's like, "Well, there's really just no experience better than hanging out with the elites that will go through Brown." I was like, "Okay, this makes me not want to go to this school anymore."
Hey,
Like,
my buddy Neil Carlin went to Brown, so I have to defend Brown.
I'm sure Brown's a great school, but yeah, like
It's
a lot
always
of people
it's
have
always
the-
been sort of the Jewish Ivy League school.
Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true.
Oh, well, of course you like it then.
Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
There you go, Mike.
Well, the thing is, here's the thing. If Neil Carlin went there, which he did, and Nathaniel West went there,
Yeah.
I mean, these are two of my favorite writers ever.
There
So
you go.
And I could never have gotten into Brown. I mean, when I say gotten in, I mean the campus itself, I couldn't have got into.
I've just
They would have just looked at me and said, nope.
gotten several messages from listeners that said the only guy they know that went to Harvard, and you're absolutely right, Tom. The only one they know is Al Franken.
Yeah, he seemed like he was all right, right?
Well, he and about
Yeah.
100, he and about 100 other senators that we could. Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
I don't know if our current senators did that. I don't know if Amy Klobuchar went to Harvard. I don't think she did go to Harvard.
I don't think so.
What's her alma mater?
Probably.
I heard she's a very pleasant person. I've never met her, but she always tells people to say hi to me. So that's kind of nice of her.
Well, you know the story about my son Max working on her campaign, right?
No.
Oh, he worked on her campaign. He had a political science degree, and so he was hired to sort of. It wasn't like a top level job. He was right out of college, but his job. I mean, he was not a volunteer. He got paid, but he worked with a lot of the volunteers, and he sort of organized them as they would go from. They were basically advanced people, so they would go wherever she was about to go, and mostly they just did things like set up tables with brochures and stickers and things, and but the story he tells, Max is not a guy who tells terrible stories about people very much. I don't know if this is a terrible story, but it is certainly indicative of something. So it was the 4th of July, and the 4th of July, it's huge for politicians. They go from one city to another. Every city has a parade, right? So they were someplace like I don't know, like let's just say Henderson, Minnesota. So, and then they needed to get to Litchfield. And so Amy was very nervous, about getting to Litchfield in time and because they had a parade there.
Right.
And so she said to one of her aides, how am I getting to Litchfield? And the aide said, oh, well, Mary Jo over there, Mary Jo, she's been with us for many years. She's very reliable, and she's going to give you a ride to Litchfield. And Amy Klobuchar said, what kind of car does she drive?
Ooh.
And the aide said, oh, it's a Honda Civic. And her response was, I can't be seen in a poor person's car.
Oh, she did not.
Yes, she did.
Oh, Amy, what are you doing? Oh.
Well, this is the woman who ate a salad with a fork. With a comb, I mean.
With a comb.
A comb.
With a comb, yeah.
Comb, yeah.
It's like,
She's an interesting person.
It's like a reverse Little Mermaid situation, using a comb as a fork.
Yeah.
She went to Yale, by the way.
Oh, she did.
So,
Okay, so she's in the elite.
Same thing.
Yeah, same story. And of course, I think the reason she tells people to say hello to me, even though I've never met her, is because her father, Jim Klobuchar, hated me. I can't even tell you.
Jim, I knew both Jims. I knew the alcoholic Jim, and then I knew the post-alcoholic Jim.
Sure.
And the post-alcoholic Jim was the sweetest, nicest guy I've ever met.
Was he really?
Yeah, but when he drank, he would get into fights at bars and things.
Oh my God, he used to get drunk and go after me like once a week. It was hilarious.
He was an excellent writer. He made up some great columns.
No, I agree with you absolutely. I just
I hope you got that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yes.
Yeah. Jim just liked to sort of invent quotes. That's all. But they were so outlandish that it was in a way where you would never think that it was an actual quote.
No, wait a second. Are you telling me the people at the Star Tribune would make up quotes of things that people said or did that never really happened? Really?
Well, very few would, but I never really knew anyone who would, but except for Jim. But that was just sort of a thing he did. And eventually he was suspended for a while for doing it. But I mean, that was like, 30 years after he started doing it.
So why did he do it? Just because it wasn't that hard to work?
I think he was, he was just sort of inventing a sort of a fantastic story. Usually it was like he was quoting people like Norm Van Brocklin, for example.
Oh yeah.
Norm Van Brocklin. So, Jim covered the Vikings and then wrote
Right,
columns about
right.
the Vikings after that. And he just thought it was, I guess, kind of fun to elaborate on quotes or maybe invent them. If you ever tried to get a quote that was interesting from a coach or an athlete, you would know it's almost impossible to get anything that's really worth reading, which is why so many sports writers use them anyway.
I got to admit something, and I'm kind of sad that I have to admit this, and maybe I shouldn't admit it because I look like a moron. Who's our other senator in Minnesota?
Oh, that's the what's her name? I guess I just failed. The woman who used to be
You know
lieutenant
what's her
governor.
name, of course.
The woman who used to be lieutenant governor.
I can't name either of our senators.
No.
Well,
Klobuchar is one, but I
That's
cannot
all.
think of who the other one is.
Tina Smith.
Tina Smith, right?
Oh, Tina Smith. That's who it is.
Tina
Okay.
Smith has a very low profile.
She really does. That's
Yeah.
why I literally, now I've heard her name, and now that you said, oh, yeah, that's who it is. But she has such a low profile. I didn't even remember she was a U.S. senator.
Well, yeah. Well, she has probably one of the most generic names.
Tina
It's like John
Smith.
Doe, Tina Smith. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
But the
very
thing
good.
is, she's not trying to get she's not trying to go viral every day.
Yeah.
She's sort of an old-fashioned senator who goes to committee meetings.
Oh, okay.
And doesn't spew obscenities at her colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I imagine someone like that is usually really good with constituent problems.
Oh, her maiden name is Flint, and her full first name is Christine.
Mhm.
Christy Flint is a much more memorable name than Tina Smith.
Christy Flint, but it does also sound sort of like an exotic dancer.
I was going to say it sounds like someone you could run in like
Right.
Wyoming or
I'd
something.
vote
Put
for
a cowboy
Christy
hat
Flint.
on her, Christy
Yeah.
Flint. There you
Right.
go.
Yeah, so we traded Wellstone and Franken for Tina Smith.
There you go.
I always thought Franken was a very scary person because he was always on TV when I was a little kid, and I
Mhm.
always thought he looked just terrifying. So
He
is this
does
guy?
have like a very gaunt,
Yeah, he
crypt
wasn't like
keeper-y look to
Wellstone.
him.
Wellstone was a guy he was really a very warm person. If you met him once, he knew your name forever. He was just a down to earth guy, but he was also very passionate.
And he legally had that exclamation point added to his last name.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
That's awesome.
I just, you guys talking about this stuff, I didn't even realize this, but I don't know how far back I'd have to go to find a senator who couldn't stand me. Or who could stand me, excuse me. Yeah, for some reason, senators and I just do not get along. I don't know why that is. Governors, I've been okay with governors.
Yeah.
Jesse and I used to be friends, but I haven't seen him in a long time. He's different kettle of fish now. But yeah, our United States senators, and again, Amy Klobuchar has never said anything negative about me, but she always tells people to say hello to me, but she won't come near me. It's one of those kind of.
Like Norm Coleman.
Yeah, Norm Coleman, he was a U.S. senator. I got along with him just fine. Haven't heard a word from him since he recovered, but
no.
It's just a whole different. The politicians are a whole different breed of people. There's no doubt about that.
The thing about Norm Coleman is, I guess he thinks that we can't do anything for him anymore.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I think of all of these politicians. I don't ever hear from politicians anymore. Not any of them. And the most recent one was the guy that wants to be president of the United States from Minnesota.
Oh,
What the hell is his-
yeah.
What the hell is it? They own the Phillips. Dean Phillips, yeah.
Yeah.
Dean Phillips came on the show and asked me if I'd endorse him. And I said, well, you're a friend of a friend, so you seem like a nice guy. Yes, I could. Since I endorsed him, haven't heard one word from him.
Well, the thing I'll say in his favor is that he is definitely pretty much right in the middle. And
Yeah, he is. He seems to be.
Yeah, so that is something. I don't know him. I've never met him. Really, the only politicians that I was ever close to, well, of course, Don Frazier, who was the mayor of Minneapolis.
Mayor of
and
Minneapolis.
covering City Hall, and he was a wonderful guy.
Was he?
Yeah, he was terrific. Yeah, he should have been a senator. He was great. He really compassionate, and he really worked on behalf of everybody.
That's nice to hear.
And Arnie Carlson, I did a few little things with Arnie, and I thought I got along great with Arnie.
Yeah, I was
And
invited.
he was certainly a kind of a moderate, wouldn't you say?
I guess so. I didn't get along with him at all.
Moderate
But
Republican. Well, he could be hard to deal with sometimes. Yeah.
Well, I used to go over there because Cindy Bricado handled his stuff, so she invited me to the governor's residence for a couple of things, but he wouldn't come near me. He was another one.
She helped us out when we were doing the Stretch and Z show, and we did a bit with Arnie. And of course, Arnie was all in for it. He thought it was great. And
well, that's good.
And Bricado helped us out too. And of course, you knew her from doing the voiceovers for Channel 5, right?
For Channel 5, absolutely.
Yeah.
Always got along well. All right, that's going to do it for another magnificent episode. I just think we solved so many problems that just, again, if what I'd like to see is Harvard just give me 10% of the interest on the, so in other words, all I'm asking for is what, about 300
million a year?
Yeah. 300 million a year. That's not bad, is it?
Well, you know what? You could get $300 million a year from them, but all you'd have to do is contribute $500 million.
Yeah, that's exactly right, too. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot.
Got a picture in my pocket reminds me of this was before. Every time I hear the singing reminds me how you talking.